It's the 6th day of the month of July. Good morning. You're welcome to News Morning here on TV3. I am Enyunam Haliga coming up this morning. Post-flood committee members calls for tighter development controls as Ghana battles recurring floods. Also, lawyers for former NAFCO CEO challenged government to provide evidence that their client attempted to withdraw funds from his frozen bank account. Much later in this bulletin, over 89 kilometers cleared for Accra-Kumasi Expressway project. That's according to the Ghana Armed Forces. We have more details on these stories. Now we'll start off with a rather troubling story that's just coming in this morning as a driver of a Mitsubishi vehicle in a quest to avoid a collision avoided this by... We'll bring you that story later in our subsequent bulletin. But the Black Star head coach Carlos Queiroz has delivered an emotional farewell message to Ghanaians following the team's elimination from the FIFA World Cup, expressing pride in the team's progress while urging the nation to build on the foundation laid during his tenure. Now, in a heartfelt message addressed to the nation, Queiroz reflected on the lessons for football and life, saying, and I quote, "Football, like life, you either win or you learn." The experienced Portuguese tactician said he lives with a pride in what Black Stars achieved while admitting there's still room for great success. Ghana's FIFA World Cup campaign ended in the round of 32 after a 1-0 defeat to Colombia at Kansas City Stadium on Friday night. Now to one of our headline stories, as lawyers for the former Chief Executive Officer of the National Buffer Stock Company, Hanan Abdul Wahab Ali Budu, says they have been denied access to his legal team following his rearrest. He's currently in the custody of the Bureau of National Intelligence. Lead counsel for the ex-NAFCO CEO, Godfred Yeboadame, has been speaking to us on his rearrest.
Former National Food Buffer Stock Company CEO Hanan Abdul Wahab is facing multiple charges of stealing and causing financial loss to the state. An Accra High Court on 29 June 2026 granted him permission to travel to London for a medical appointment. The court ordered that his passport be made available to him to enable him travel. He was, however, arrested by law enforcement officers. Deputy AG Dr. Justice Rimsai explained he had attempted to fraudulently empty his bank account. His lawyers have, however, been disputing this narrative, accusing the state security of breaching the orders of the court. They maintain he has not attempted to effect any withdrawal of funds.
Now, we're going back to the floods as they have receded, but the destruction left behind continuous devastations across parts of the country. At Ablekuma Pentecost Junction, collapsed buildings, damaged businesses and a failed drainage system stand as a stark evidence of years of infrastructure neglect laid by the torrential rains. A report by Stanley Blow.
The recent floods in the Greater Accra region left behind a trail of destruction after claiming multiple lives. At Ablekuma Pentecost Junction in the Gan Central Municipality, the scars of the disaster remain visible and dire. Collapsed structures and deep erosion have ripped through homes, shops and other properties after floodwaters washed away their foundations. Runoff from several upstream communities is channeled through a natural water course into a narrow, unfinished storm drain that residents say has long been unable to contain the volume of water. During the construction of the Pentecost Inner Road, part of the drainage system was built but never extended, leaving fast-flowing water to empty into a vulnerable section of the community, triggering persistent flooding and severe erosion. Successive downpours have widened the channel, further weakening the surrounding land. The torrential rains of Monday, June 29, 2026, worsened the already fragile situation, with raging floodwaters bringing down buildings located along the waterway. Several businesses, including pubs and shops, have suspended operations after their premises and customer sitting areas were extensively damaged. The destruction did not end there. Commercial activities at Express Gas have also come to a halt after flash floods severely damaged the station. Fortunately, there was no fuel in stock at the time of the incident. The gas storage cylinder has since been evacuated, while the affected section has been cordoned off by NADMO. The devastation has also extended to culvert and drainage infrastructure, with the eroded land now threatening sections of the road. Efo Besa has worked as a booking officer at the local taxi station for more than a decade. He describes the scale of destruction. His account is echoed by Naomi, a trader whose business was also affected.
All of a sudden, it's only where say I say, I copy a mukabwa. If I say, for what they say in our member. It's really the cars in our book. What park a car, ever started, and a book a crack, as our grass and go, nothing in our. To the eye and the penny for maybe before our Maya wine. Young Pangu here, you put Anquala.
For many residents and business owners, recovery is expected to take months, if not years. Until the long-delayed storm drain is completed, residents fear every heavy rainfall will continue to threaten lives, destroy property, and wipe out livelihoods. Stanley Niblo, TV3 News, Accra.
Now, away from the floods, the Ghana Armed Forces has announced that more than half of the corridor for the proposed Accra-Kumasi Expressway has been cleared. According to an update released on the project, as of June 25, 2026, a total of 89.5 kilometers, representing 50.9% of the expressway corridor, has been cleared. Colonel Alex Chumesi, the project coordinator and manager, said the entire clearing exercise is scheduled to be completed in 20 weeks and that more than 50% has already been achieved within 9 weeks.
This development marks a major milestone in the preparatory phase of the project. The latest figures indicate that the project is progressing ahead of schedule, with authorities expressing confidence that the remaining section of the corridor will be completed within the planned timeframe. Colonel Alex Chumesi is the project coordinator.
The operations are progressing steadily and according to plan. The team is currently achieving an average clearing rate of 10 kilometers per week, and at this rate, we anticipate completing the clearing operations within 17 to 18 weeks, which is way ahead of the original 20-week program.
The remaining 86.1 kilometers of the corridor are expected to be cleared over the next 13 weeks, paving way for subsequent phases of the flagship road project.
The team remains fully committed to the successful and timely completion of this mission. We stand ready to undertake any additional engineering tasks that may be assigned by High Command in support of national developmental objectives.
The Accra-Kumasi Expressway, an ambitious government project, is expected to significantly improve travel between Ghana's two largest cities by reducing travel time, easing congestion on the existing route, and enhancing the movement of people and goods.
Now to one of our earlier story, a much troubling one. A driver of a Mitsubishi vehicle in a quest to avoid an Okada rider who veered into the lane somersaulted, causing the damage to the vehicle. It took timely intervention of passengers and drivers of some commercial vehicles to reverse the car, which gave access to the driver to come out of the vehicle. This is highlighted and heightened calls for the need for every Ghanaian to be first aid inclined in order to prefer the necessary interventions.
Vincent is not really answers that.
That's a rider across no. Into across no. I just saw dodging one dodging no. Obebono akuno. Eno dodging no. Into dodging no. Seka yesu yeba. Into bi hu na mi slow down. Mi slow down over me na masada. Abe pimp me. Debi oko Accra.
That's rather unfortunate and maybe a call for the first aid education for every Ghanaian. But the Ashanti North Regional Police Command has launched an investigation into a viral video that allegedly shows misconduct by a police officer in Akumando, Afranco district. Now, the command confirmed in a press release on Sunday, July 5, 2026, that the officer involved has been identified. The incident in question reportedly took place on July 3, 2026, though details of the alleged misconduct were not disclosed in the statement. This was signed by ASP Emmanuel Agbazi. He's the staff officer and acting public relations officer. The release stated that an investigation have commenced to establish the full facts and circumstances surrounding the event. The command added that the appropriate action will follow based on the outcome of the probe. Now we're back to the Greater Accra region, where the project coordinator of the Greater Accra Resilient and Integrated Development Project and a member of the Post-Flood Mitigation Committee, Kojo Ohene Safo, says Ghana needs far-reaching reforms in urban planning to effectively address the country's perennial flooding challenges. He wants the new development continue to follow the same pattern of haphazard construction as individuals undertake building projects without considering the broader impact on communities and the general Ghanaian public. He made these remarks while speaking on key points on TV3.
Number of culverts relative to the size of the drains, that the culverts are bottlenecks. Those bottlenecks need to be changed immediately. I'll give you an example. The railway crossing at Odona is one of the biggest contributions to the overtopping at Odona, because it crosses the Odo. The railway sizing, it creates more or less like an embankment. At a certain point, when the water levels are rising, they push against the embankment and they spill over into the community. That must be changed. And there are so many across. I don't want to limit it to just Accra and Odo. Across the country, it is important for, let's say, Hydro together with the assemblies to start auditing those kinds of bottlenecks for immediate. There are some bridges that have piers. The piers are sitting in the middle of drains, large storm drains. Because of our solid waste challenge, when the runoff is moving and they get to the pier, they actually wrap around the pier and they become obstructions. Those things have to be removed. Those are very short-term things that must be done across the country. It's critical because there are localized flooding spots across the country. It's not just Accra. Right. And my fear is that Accra is almost like the worst-case scenario. The new cities and urban towns that are coming across the country and are mirroring the same development trajectory as Accra are building a case for a future disaster. And that's why we need to have a nationwide perspective about this.
Now to some entertainment-related stories, as Ghanaian Guinness World Record holder for the largest leaf printing art, Sharon Dede Paddy, is calling on the government to invest more into the country's visual art sector. She says the industry has enormous potential to create jobs and contribute significantly to the Ghana's economic growth. She made the call during the My Dream Summer Art Competition and Festival held in Accra.
Brought together hundreds of children from different schools and communities, providing them with a platform to showcase their artistic talents and encouraging creativity and innovation from an early age. The children filled the festival grounds with colorful paintings, drawings and other creative works as they competed in the My Dream World Summer Art Competition and Festival. The event sought to nurture young artistic talents, promote self-expression and inspire children to explore careers in the creative arts. They were supervised by several creative directors and photographers brought from across the regions. Ghana's Guinness World Record holder for the longest leaf painting art, Sharon Dede Paddy, noted that despite the growing interest in visual arts among young people, many talented artists struggle due to limited financial support, inadequate infrastructure and insufficient opportunities to market their work.
The government needs to pay attention to the visual arts department and also set aside funds specifically for visual artists. And I think it will really go a long way, and it will help put Ghana on the map, and it will do so much.
Mercy Ope, a creative director and inspiration behind the My Dream World, expressed optimism that the annual festival will continue to inspire the next generation of artists while promoting appreciation for Ghana's rich artistic heritage.
I believe every child is creative in their own ways, and growing up we don't get opportunity to be able to expose whatever art instincts in us. I believe bringing children together to get their creative skills will help them to know what they want to do in future.
Parents and participants praised the initiative, describing it as an important platform that encourages creativity, confidence and innovation among children. Awards including medals and citations were presented to the top 10 best artists.
And that's how we end News Morning here on TV3. For more news, please check our website at 3news.com. I am Enyunam Padganude. Continuous.
around us is changing, not slowly, not quietly. In the north, the rains that once arrived on time don't come anymore. In the middle belt, rivers and forests disappearing overnight. Along the coast, the sea is swallowing land that families have called home for generations. Rising temperatures, failed harvests, homes lost to tides. This is not a warning about tomorrow. This is the world right now. TV3 and the German Embassy in Ghana. The conversation on climate security implications in Ghana. The Climate Talks 2026. 5 cities, 5 conversations, 1 urgent call to action. Tamale, Bolgatanga, Kumasi, Keta, Accra. Starting this June 2026. The climate talks are coming, and this time, the people most affected by Ghana's climate security crisis will be at the center of it all. Because the time for Ghana to act is now.
Where I am proudly from, our culture has been grace and royalty woven through generations.
For 20 years, Ghana's most beautiful has celebrated the beauty and soul of our nation. And this year, I pass on the crown to the 20th queen.
Who wears the 20th anniversary crown? Are you that bold, beautiful, graceful, and proud Ghanaian lady to win the all-new 20th anniversary crown? 200,000 Ghana cedis cash, brand new car, an all-expense paid trip abroad, a scholarship for a master's program, participate in an international event, a Zodorio deal, a set of gold jewelry, and many more. Join the audition journey. Massive on 8th July at Micklin Hotel. Takrady on 10th July at the Western Serene Atlantic Hotel. In Accra on 12th July at TV3. Scan the QR code now to register.
GMB at 20. 20 years of culture, grace, and legacy.
Ghana's most beautiful is 20 years.
Brought to you by Gino, Pomot.
May the meditations of my heart.
Out.
Yeah.
Your heart should reflect how you feel, how grateful you are to God.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes we say prayers within us. And maybe this song probably reflects that as well.
Yeah.
That whatever meditations I have inside of me, may it be acceptable unto God. And at this point, where we're reeling from, you know, the floods, it's exactly a week since the floods happened in Accra and in other parts of the country as well, after 34 deaths and over 90,000 people displaced.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, of course, it's unfair when people who have lost property, have lost family members, listen to us and we talk about meditations of our hearts, be acceptable unto God and be grateful to God. But at the same time, they're saying all things,
yes,
give thanks
give
to
thanks.
God.
Yes.
So regardless of the situation, and I was speaking to a friend over the weekend who also lost property.
Oh, no.
And she said that most importantly, they have life.
They are alive,
And
yes.
for them, that's all that matters.
Yes.
And so you may have lost your home, you may have lost your property, but you have life. Other families are preparing to bury their family members at this point, maybe due to the floods or due to other causes as well. And so it's even more difficult for them. But even in those cases, I'm sure there are a few of them who are still saying, regardless of the situation, I know I'm hurting, but thank you, God. So
and you
much
made it to the second half of the year.
How much more you, exactly.
Yes, second half of the year.
So this morning,
yes.
whatever is on your heart, I hope that it's acceptable unto God, and I hope that reflects gratitude most importantly, regardless of the situation. So, good morning, and welcome to Brand New Week. You look very nice in pink. Is this fuchsia pink? I like it. It's very bright.
Yeah, thank you.
For a day where we're told to expect some rains, right?
Yes, about 40% of rains per the statement. Actually, it was a text message. I'm sure you received that as well. Exactly, from the Interior Ministry. And again, cautioning us not to try to walk in flooded areas. Yes, so...
Interesting message.
That seems to be the advice moving forward, that don't think that you're strong enough to move or even cross, because there were some people who unfortunately retrieved from vehicles. And so just be careful. I mean,
how careful can you be? Because you see, when you say just be careful, you could be in your home and the water could come to you
That
as well.
is also true.
How do you even manage that? But I mean, this communique is from the Interior Ministry. It was sent for Greater Accra, and we're told to expect moderate rain. Says it's likely between 4 to 7 a.m. today, and it's 40% chance of that moderate rain. So low-lying areas may flood. Avoid flooded roads and stay alert. And so this is just an alert going out to those of us within the Greater Accra region. That's the communique. And I'm sure that wherever you are in this part of the region, you must have received this message. Because for me, both my numbers, I received the message as well. So I guess that they made sure to send it to everyone that they could find. And so it says again, Greater Accra, moderate rain likely Monday, July 6th, which is today, 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. So 4 a.m., I kept listening to see if the rains would come down. I noticed it's drizzling. It's very light. There are showers here and there. I don't know about your community and whether it started raining, whether it's moderate, heavy, but let us know. We're told that there's a 40% chance of this happening today. If you find yourself in low-lying areas, well, it may flood. I mean, I thought they said the whole of Accra, basically, is a low-lying area, whichever way.
But there are certain places that are actually lower than the average.
If you find yourself in those areas, just stay alert. For what do they say for Asutu form, Mawasunka form? How do you say? Keep your ears on the ground. How do you translate that literally? Mawasung in that form.
I think something like that.
Mawasung that form. Maweninya hai. And just stay alert. We need you alive. We need you healthy.
Others will say, shine your eyes.
Shine your eye, exactly, and don't let the floods take you. And if you live in such communities that are likely to flood, if you can at least evacuate for a while and find somewhere to perch. If you can't, totally understandable. But if you can perch somewhere for now, just go ahead.
But now you can't even predict, because there are communities that are flooding. Hitherto were not getting flooded.
True, but if you weigh, you know, the areas that flooded last Monday as against those that didn't flood, if you're lucky to have someone within those environments, then maybe you can go stay there. I think that for a lot of people, they're also now considering keeping most of their properties on the top floor. So if you live in a story building, I don't know what you're going to be doing with the ground floor, because at this point,
keep your car on.
That's the thing. So, you know, I was thinking about it that maybe should we start thinking of some kind of engineering where your car sits on a certain elevator or whatever. So just in case the rains are coming, it can't be elevated all the way to the top. But I was thinking, how are you going to power it? What if there's doom? So what happens? What if, you know, so many what ifs. So
Yes.
it's a very difficult thing.
But there's some companies
to think
that
about.
have those kinds of car parks. I think around the National Theatre,
Yes.
there's a place where you can, there's a way you drive through, you can park
Yes,
up.
all the way to
They've
the top.
arranged it in a very
Yeah.
nice way.
It's all
but
about planning.
We don't have
if
a lot
we had
of that.
planned this
Yes.
city properly, I
Yeah.
don't think that would be here. Or even this country. I think generally planning
Yeah.
is a major problem because, you know, usually when you're traveling, especially, and for me, that's when I notice it.
Yeah.
When you're traveling and maybe you're landing in another country, you
Yeah.
can literally tell that a lot of the houses are in a linear, you know, pattern.
Yeah.
Or at least you can trace the developments, the design,
Yeah.
you know, of that city. But you come to Accra, and when you're landing, you're wondering, okay, how is this road here? And there's a house here, and there's this here.
Yeah.
It's all very confusing.
Yeah.
And I really wish that we had had enough time, or at least the authorities had really
Yeah.
insisted on planning the country.
Yeah.
Because now, if you don't take a Uber, can even send you into someone's bathroom. It's supposed to be a road.
Yeah.
But by the time you get there, Uber says you can go through.
Yeah.
But you get there and someone's house
I'm telling you,
is
even
sitting
when
right
you're
in the middle of
driving,
the
when
road.
I'm going to an area I don't know, I use Google Map,
Mhm.
and it will say turn right, turn left, and I'm like, that's a wall.
Yeah.
Why are you telling me to
I
turn
meant Google Map. I
Yeah.
don't mean the car hailing
Yes.
service. I meant Google Map actually. Yes.
So it's even with you driving normally, they'll tell you pass here, and there's no road.
Yeah.
Perhaps those areas were designed for roads, and yet we found buildings in them. So it makes direction quite difficult.
It's a difficult one.
Yeah.
But yes, we're told that the Ghana Armed Forces, you know, will be partnering with the state agencies and, of course, the ministries to ensure that there's some restoration after the Accra floods and the Ghana floods as well. And so we heard from one Brigadier General, let me just get his name quickly concerning that, and he's giving us details. Okanyeboa, that's
Yes.
his name, right?
Yes.
And he's given us details as to exactly what they will be doing as well. He says, Brigadier General Foster Okanyeboa, he says that the Ghana Armed Forces, in partnership with some other institutions, including the EPA, the private sector organizations, Ghana National Fire Service, Ghana Health Service, the MMDAs, NADMO, Ministry of Water Resources, Works and Housing, the Ghana Police Service, and other relevant stakeholders are coming together to ensure that they bring some restoration and, of course, help with the mitigation efforts. And so we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, I loved
as
that
well.
press conference on Friday. I think it was just around 11-something a.m. And, of course, he didn't spend a lot of time talking. And the committees that are under this mitigation, flood mitigation task force that's been set up. And the bit for me was demolishing structures. And it was something that the president had already talked about after his aerial tour of the areas that were destroyed or flooded, that there were going to be demolition of structures within waterways. That's fantastic. But I just hope that they've been able to map out, looked at it 360, because again, I'm looking at a situation where somebody would have gone through the assembly, would have gone through all the necessary agencies that are supposed to give permit. And so if I've got my permit and I've got all my documentations right, and unfortunately where my structure is sited is within a waterway, how are you going to demolish it? I'm just thinking that there could be legal ramifications as well, and I hope that those will not be strong enough to impede this very project that is supposed to save a lot of lives.
I mean, for me, I'm hoping that we go beyond the rhetoric, the talk, the constant talk. Because I'll take you back to the June 3rd disaster in 2015, where after, you know, over 150 lives were lost and so many people got injured, we heard from the president. He gave some directives, and he indicated that one of the main things we were going to do then was to clear illegal structures on waterways.
What happened?
That was way back in 2015. I mean, I feel that if we had implemented that in the strongest sense of the word, maybe we would have mitigated these, you know, these factors to a large extent. Unfortunately, we're back here. We're hearing the president say again that we're going to clear structures, illegal structures on waterways. I hope that it's just not another, you know, statement that's been made, and this time around we're really going to act upon it. Because we're tired of listening to people talk all the time. What happened to those structures? For me, that's the most important thing. And beyond even pulling them down, because I listened to Mr. Kofi Bartels, that's his name. Bentel, yes. And, you know, he talked about
With
how...
Imani Africa?
Kofi Bentel, yes. He talked about how even pulling down these structures does not really reverse the flooding issue because the
yes.
soil structure is already jeopardized at this point. So initially, if that was a wetland and it had a soil structure that's supposed to retain the water, just by virtue of the fact that we've developed the land, we've changed the topography, we've changed the structure of the soil. And so it may not be able to withhold the water like it should in the past. So he says that we should go beyond just a conversation of pulling down some of these structures. Yes, ideally they should be pulled down, but beyond that, we need to also now work on the land itself. And that will take a longer period before we can even reverse the issues of flooding. So let's have a holistic conversation about it, that, okay, these structures have come up already. The ones that need to be pulled down to a large extent, let's do it. But beyond that, how do we develop, you know, our system in such a way that we're also building drains that can pull out some of these you know, liquids and floods, etc. And I thought that was quite deep because I hadn't thought about that as well. He says he has a background in geography. And he's taught that for years.
I've actually spoken to him before.
I clearly understood where he was coming from and the explanation that he was given, especially after, you know, the director of the Garrett project had mapped out, because there was an aerial mapping of our waterways, our wetlands, and how they've reduced between 2013, 2002 up until now. In fact, when it comes to Chado, we're told that we've lost almost 100% of our wetlands in Chado alone. And so that should tell you, that explains clearly why we have these floods.
And I
in
was
areas
amazed.
like that.
I was amazed and intrigued actually on Friday when I saw the maps, because that presentation was done after Brigadier General Okanyeboa did his presentation. And it was, I mean, the red zones within all these areas that were supposed to have been protected. And less than 20 years, we've seen all these developments. It just, you know, brings into question again the assembly. We keep talking about the assemblies, but we don't seem to see the kind of results that we're looking forward to. So really, like you rightly said, hopefully this is not just talk. When you talked about or reminded us about the June 3rd disaster, I just, my eyes just went back to when we did a whole human statue with plastics, indicating that this should not happen again. And yet when it rains, after the waters have receded, you see plastics all over. What are we doing about it? So really, it's just the same old conversation, and hopefully this time around that we all seem to be tired. Of course, we've been tired every time people have died. We are really going to put in the necessary steps to protect lives and property.
Well, let's see. I mean, I have faith in the Ghana Armed Forces especially. And I think that as far as I'm concerned, they're the ones who are going to get the work done. And beyond just also pulling down these structures, of course, they're going to ensure that sanitation is also of utmost importance. And so now if we find you littering, we have every right to now call you out. People are saying we should name and shame. So you put a camera on the person, you record, ask the person why they're doing that. I mean, to a large extent, I need to understand the privacy concerns with that as well, because there are some legal ramifications for that. But you yourself, as you wake up this morning, tell yourself that as I'm going out, I'm not going to litter. Whatever rubbish, whatever plastic waste I have, I'll place it in my pocket, in my bag, until I get to a point where I can properly dispose it off into a garbage bin or bring it back home and dispose it off properly. Because I'm tired of seeing, and I'm always complaining about this, is either we have someone who is peeing by the roadside, which I find very appalling, or we have people who sit in cars, moving vehicles, they're done drinking their water or whatever it is that they're consuming, and the first thing they think of is to throw the plastic out of the moving vehicle.
And you know, unfortunately, adults are training children to even do that. Because I was in traffic one morning coming to work, and I saw a lady just pull by the roadside and let the child step out of the car to pee on the roadside. And the first thing that came to mind was, you're training this child that peeing on the roadside is okay. Meanwhile, at that time, you could have just entered a restaurant and just, can I use your washroom?
Not every restaurant will allow you, though. I've noticed that a number of them now, they don't necessarily allow you in. But also beyond that, places of convenience, public places of convenience, we need to have those places available, you know, around as well. Because now the hotels and the restaurants, they are noticing that some of you come and park, and the moment we see you've gone straight to the bathroom. And so they are stopping some people to a large extent as well. Unless maybe you're a familiar person, they'll be like, okay, you can go. But in some cases, they actually do. And even outside this country, the US, for example, if you enter a restaurant or something, you can't just easily go to their bathroom. They don't allow that. some places will tell you no, you cannot use because you have to ask. You can't just walk in there unless you're purchasing
but of
something.
Course, I'm not saying walk
I
straight
get
to
it.
the place. Just
no, but in
ask.
Ghana, you know, are you not going to say, please, can I use your washroom? You know, sometimes there are some places where the bathroom is separate from the reception. So once you park, you're going straight there. And people know what I'm talking about. It happens to us a lot of times because sometimes you need to use the bathroom so badly and there's no public place of convenience. So that's also, there are lots of things that we need to fix in this country, a whole lot of them. The bins, I remember that there was a time when, you know, we're told there were going to be
separating
garbage bins, not even the segregation, garbage bins at vantage points so we can drop. The concern now became, when are you going to carry the bin away and empty it? Because it was overflowing. So sometimes when you get there, it's so overflowing that you don't have a choice. It's either you put it by the side or you try and fix it in there and it will still fly out anyway. So we will have the bins, but who will come and collect it? Do we have the institutions that will come and collect it? And why are they not collecting it on time? So many concerns that need to be addressed. And so that's what I'm saying. We need to have a holistic conversation. And beyond the conversation, let's make sure that when we're implementing, we ensure that every corner is occupied. So we don't leave any loopholes at all. Because then they'll keep giving excuses. Now, being in
and the fact that people were stealing the bins.
So anyway, it's a major problem. But yeah, we'll have a conversation about that, of course. I've been saying a lot, eh? We'll have a conversation about this. And of course, for those of you who missed out on that guide mapping, aerial mapping of the wetlands all across the country, from Malam to Chado, the Peshi, to Tetegu, and also to the Bree Mountains. We'll replay a bit of that for you on the big issues. So we have a conversation moving forward. How do we intend to solve this issue once and for all? It's very important. And beyond that as well, so the former NAFCO CEO, so the National Food Buffer Stock Company CEO, who has been in court for a number of reasons, of course, about 20 counts leveled against him, 20 charges leveled against him with regards to misappropriation of public funds, alleged stealing of public funds, money laundering. Now, we're told that still while in court, just a few days ago, his lawyers were able to get him leave to travel out of the country because he needs to go and see his optician. So he was given a few days to travel out of the country. And so on Saturday, he was on his way out, and apparently he was picked up by the BNI. And according to the Deputy Attorney General, he was picked up because they picked intel that he was using another person to try and illegally retrieve funds from what they described as a frozen account as well. And so he's been picked up. His lawyers are crying foul, and they're saying that as far as they're concerned, once the initial charges were dropped against him, they were of the notion that the trial had started afresh. So all frozen accounts did not hold anymore. So they didn't even understand why the Deputy Attorney General will make such, what they claim, false allegations against their clients. And so we'll be having that conversation as well. We'll take a look at some interview that we had with the legal representative of Dr. Hanan Abdul, Mr. Hanan Abdul as well. And so Godfred Dame will not join us necessarily, but we'll play back his interview from yesterday on the show and have a further conversation on this as well, on the big issue. So look forward to it.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. And also, you remember when we had issue at the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital, they were turning patients away because they didn't have enough space to keep new patients. One of the areas that came to the spotlight was Yafari Military Hospital. And it's amazing to know that it's not just the only facility that was supposed to have been made ready for people to go through. We also do have apparently a polyclinic within the Ekwe area in the Western region. There was supposed to have been some expansions on it to upgrade it from that level to a secondary hospital. And yet from 2020, the project has stalled. And people are asking for this to be done after we spent about, I believe, 14 million Ghana cedis on it. So, actually, that was the amount that was committed to expanding this health facility, and yet it has stalled. So I think that's one thing that we may want to look at as well on the This Morning segment. And on that note, you're welcome to the This Morning segment.
For years, St. Martin de Porres Hospital at Ikwe has been a lifeline not just for the three Nzema municipalities, but for patients as far as La Côte d'Ivoire. Unfortunately, the project to expand that lifeline is now a ghost site. On October 16, 2022, GNPC Board Chairman Freddie Blay and CEO Dr. Kofi Kodia-Sapong cut the sword for a $14 million upgrade to turn the 60-year-old Catholic facility into a modern teaching hospital. But in 2022, with the project already 60% complete, a change in the leadership of GNPC brought everything to a screeching halt. Today, weeds have swallowed the site, and the residents of the Elembele district can only plead for it to be completed.
The whole of coastal area na wa ha nyina na ekwe ene ekura so ha ekwe na bie kese pa because of hospital ntino ti yesra aban enye da bia na obi benya sika akọ efia nkwanta 37 military hospital ne ade ye wo facilities wo ha ebetumi asave nti yesra aban ne se ontwa nani na onye yemoa yesre no.
The Elembele District Chief Executive Joseph Ejekum says since assuming office, he and the Member of Parliament Emmanuel Amakofibua have officially written to GNPC for answers.
So this project has been stalled for the past 4 years. From 2021, they started 2020. So from 2021, when they handed over the second term of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, then the project stalled. So they've not attended to this project for the past 4 years. But hopefully when we came, through the support of the Honorable MP, Honorable Emmanuel Amakofibua, the Assembly has officially written to GNPC to inquire why the project has been stalled. We have been assured by the GNPC CEO that in the coming weeks, they will make sure they attend to that hospital. I'm told they are doing a little forensic investigation about it.
The DCE also revealed that the stalled polyclinic is not the only abandoned GNPC project in the area. He cited several others and appealed to the company to expedite the forensic audit it has promised so that all these idle projects can finally see completion.
We have another project at NAS. It's a guest hostel. That too was started in 2020 and it has been stalled. You know, when you go to most of our towns, people thought the town rules and all this were being handled by Ghana Gas. No, it's Ghana Gas and the GNPC. So when you come to Ijokule, when you go to Ebibo Castle, most of the community project with town rules, that was initiated in 2015 by Honorable Boa as gas and oil entry rules. All those projects that GNPC started in 2020 has been stopped. So these are the projects by the GNPC that we've written to GNPC to know why it has been stored and to plead with them to make sure they continue.
Irama Smith, TV3 News, Elembele.
And that's the unfortunate situation with the Ekwe Polyclinic at this point. Irama Smith joins us via phone to have a further conversation on this. Good morning, Irama.
Good morning, Bella.
Good to hear from you. I hope you're doing well.
I'm very well, thank you. I hope you are too.
Yes, we're blessed, thank you. But generally, I want to understand the state of mind of the residents within that community because clearly they are the ones mostly affected by the lack of development when it comes to this polyclinic. What are they saying?
As you would expect, they are not happy at all. You know, when you live in a resource-rich environment and you see some of these things, you become disheartened. When it comes to the Western region and you go into the interior areas, let's use the Ekwe community and the Nzema enclave, as you see Ghana Gas, you see GNPC, you see some of these oil and gas service providers with their facilities there. And so when they see these things, they are not happy at all. And at times, it provokes anger, which may not end well. So I would say that they are just biding their time. They are hopeful that it will be be done. You know, the typical Ghanaian attitude where we would put peace first before we bring any other thing on board. So they are just bidding their time, I would say. And let's just pray that it doesn't degenerate into something that we will all not be happy about.
But how long has this structure been sitting, and who is supposed to ensure its completion, and what are they saying?
Right. So in the salt was cut in 2020, and at that time, Freddie Blair was the chairman of the board of the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, and then the CEO was Dr. Shapon. So that was the time, and it was supposed to be completed within 12 months. But in 2022, after 2022 was not complete. It was about 60% complete. And it was during that time that there was a change in leadership, and then everything was stalled. And when you listen to the news, you hear the chief executive, the DCE, saying they wrote to the company and they were informed that they were auditing the financial activities that went there. So since 2022 up till now, nothing has been done. And when you go to the St. Martin de Forest facility, it's an eyesore because they are seriously overwhelmed. You can see from the pictures that this project has been abandoned, and it's like there is no hope. And many of such facilities are found here in the Western region. So it's very important that right now that we are putting attention on it, maybe something will be done about it so that people will get some respite.
You're saying that it's been sitting since 2022?
Yes. 2022. It has been abandoned since 2022. And you can see that 60% is almost complete.
Yeah.
So it's something that, it can quickly be done, and it will bring some respite to the people. As we speak now, St. Martin de Porres is catering for patients which go beyond even Elubo to Cote d'Ivoire. You have patients from Jomoro, you have patients from Nzuma East, Delemble itself, even from Hunter West. And all of these people, they have to be transferred to Efe Quanta Regional Hospital or referred to Efe Quanta Regional Hospital when they can't cater for them. And Efe Quanta also has its own challenges here. The facility that was also being built to expand Efe Quanta has been abandoned. So you can imagine.
Yeah, we can imagine the pressure on health facilities in the area. But Irama, if you can remind us again, the understanding is that about 14 million Ghana cedis has been committed to this. The project was supposed to have started somewhere in 2020. If you can tell us, based on the information you have gathered, why it has stalled.
So from the information we have gathered, it has stalled because when there was a change in leadership, they decided to audit the finances, the money that have gone into the project. And as at now, we are also gathering that has not been completed. So they are still auditing it.
For 6 years?
DCE, exactly, for 6 years. Good question. They are still auditing. According to the DCE, when he came into office, he, together with a member of parliament, Emmanuel Amakovipa, wrote to GNPC for answers as to why if the project had been abandoned. And they were informed that an audit was going on. They were doing forensic audit. So the auditing is still ongoing. And when it's completed, they'll get back. So right now, what we can only plead for is that they expedite this auditing.
Wow, interesting.
So that
Auditing
they
for 6 years. Okay, but in the meantime, do we know whether any amount of the 14 million Ghana cedis committed has been used so far?
Please come again.
I was asking, the 14 million Ghana cedis committed to expanding this health facility, do we know whether any of it has been used?
Has been used? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, if it's 60% complete, then definitely some funds have been committed to it. But we don't know whether maybe the funds have been, everything is finished, you know. So maybe that could explain why there's a need for the auditing, but we may have to wait for what comes out of that audit.
And this building has been left, at least since they decided to do the expansion, for about 6 years now. What are engineers saying as regards how much more they may have to spend on it in order to, you know, get the real project going?
No, we don't have information about that. We are yet to have that information. For now, you know, it was a GNPC project, and they came on with their own engineers and all that's needed for it to be done. So whatever information that we need, we will have to go to GNPC.
You mentioned earlier about talking to the district chief executive for the area. Do we have an idea how soon, perhaps, in terms of the responses he's getting, this project could start?
No, what he said was that they had written to GNPC and they had been assured that they were auditing it. And when that is completed, then they will move or they will continue with the project. But there were no timelines at that time. So we can't know for certain when this will be completed.
Irama, just quickly, let's understand the constraint on the St. Martin's Hospital. I believe that's the name.
Martin de Porres, yes.
St. Martin de Porres Hospital. So currently, what's their bed capacity and how many communities does it serve? So roughly how many people have to use that facility at this point, since they don't have access to this polyclinic? Do you have the statistics?
Right. So for now, they have 200 beds, and the expansion was to add 100 more beds to the facility. And as I indicated earlier, this facility serves the Nzima East, serves Jomoro, and then Elembele. So we are looking at about 350,000 people, and it goes beyond that because we have patients coming in from Ivory Coast. You know, Ivory Coast is very close to the Nzima community. There, people just move in and out. And we also have people going there from the Ahanta West. Yeah, so it goes beyond at least 350 people.
350,000 people, you say?
People.
Okay. And of course, if it gets very serious, then they have to be transferred to the Fiankwanta Hospital, which in itself is supposed to, enjoy some expansion, but that also has stalled.
Also has stalled.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, we'll leave it here, Rama, and we hope to connect with you again at a much later time so you can give us some updates. Hopefully by then, work would have started, or at least the auditing would have ended, so we can know the way forward. But thank you for the good work.
You're welcome.
All right. And, this won't be the only, it's not an isolated situation. Yeah. Like you referenced earlier, from the Afari Hospital to the Sewa Hospital to a number of other hospitals that we should be able to complete just to take the burden off the hospitals that already serve these communities. And yet not much is being done. It's either we're auditing, so many stories.
Auditing for 6 years.
It's unbelievable.
Which auditors are in charge of this auditing? I think that something has to be done about it. 6 years auditing. What documents are they looking like for?
Authorities also need to answer questions, because why sit and wait for that long? I mean, I don't even know. But we'll leave that situation here and get into another conversation that's been trending all over the weekend. I was hoping that, because I had one jersey left to wear, so I was hoping that this morning I was going to come here with my jersey, with my flag, etc., just so we can also make some noise as we prepare for the round of 16.
Yes.
I don't know why I had my hopes up, even though on the night, I could just sense that it wasn't going to go in our favor. And I even tweeted that I think I should just go to bed because I didn't have a good feeling about the Black Stars match against Colombia. And so I told people that maybe I'll just go to bed, wake up and watch the repeat afterwards. But for some reason, I was still awake. So I was like, okay, let me keep watching and see. Then they scored us.
Yes.
That was it.
That was just in
the
first 7 minutes.
And I went to bed. Because at that
7 minutes,
there was no hope anymore.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I did the same thing, but you know, I still had some love in my heart. So
we
after
also do.
yes, after the 7th minute and the goal came in, I just switched off my TV and went to sit on my bed with my phone so I could monitor on social media. So I would just check, have they scored? And then I would see them playing around. I would put it off. I did that for like an hour and I just said, okay, they are not scoring. And then I turned everything completely
Also because,
off.
you know, for this round of 32, the other countries that usually scored first, they at the end were the ones that were kicked out. So I was like, okay, well, maybe Colombia has scored, but it just means that there's a pattern. Black Stars will score our first one, maybe we'll go into extra time, maybe we'll score again, or we'll go into penalties. But even that, I was like, if we go into penalties in Colombia, are we going to survive? So many questions. It's quite unfortunate
I noticed,
that we didn't make it beyond the round
I noticed
of 32.
with a few Black Stars games that I've watched that when the Stars are scored first, it becomes very difficult. And in this last game, they seem to have been disoriented.
Completely.
The injuries came in so quickly. It pained me that Senaya had to go. And you could tell that he almost cried that he had to be asked to, you know, get off the pitch. But it completely disoriented them. And from there, I could see Antoine Semenyo running. It's like, excuse my language, but they were running aimlessly on the pitch. That's how I saw it. And so I just felt, okay, it's the same old story of when the Stars are scored first, they're struggling to score again. It was a miracle that Croatia were able to score one eventually, but really,
Colombia,
generally,
you mean,
yes.
Well, they were better side, to be fair. If you monitor the sports journalists and the sports enthusiasts, they all said it that if we thought Portugal was going to give us a run for our money, then we have no idea what Colombia could do to us. And it clearly showed on the pitch. They were a better side. I guess they kicked us out at a point when many Ghanaians didn't think we were even going to make it past the group stage anyway. So that's the situation now. I mean, big ups to our players. I put up a number of names that I thought did a good job on the pitch. Of course, it was contended by some people on social media, but largely a lot of people agreed with the list that I put out, except for a few names that I left out. And I must admit that thinking about it, maybe I should have added them. So for me, it was Caleb Yenchi. Thomas Partey, I think, was overall the best player.
Had gone through.
Thomas Brandon Asante, till now, we're all wondering why he still could not play in this Colombian game.
Whether he offended the coach.
I've heard from a journalist, forgive me, I've forgotten your name, but there was a podcast that he put out, and he was explaining that, so after the first game against Panama, the players were given some time off. So they were asked to go out, go and, defrost, chill, and take away their stress, but they were supposed to get back to camp before at 11 p.m. and anybody who came after that was going to be penalized. Now we're hearing, according to the sports journalist, that unfortunately for Thomas Brandon Asante, he didn't come back at the time that was set for them. And so that's why he was punished, and in the England game, we didn't see him come on the field to play. But beyond that, we're asking that, is it a punishment for just one game, or did this punishment go beyond that one game into the Colombia game? Because we needed him on the pitch. Why didn't he come on? He's the reason why we scored against Panama. Because it was when he got on that Semenyo passed to him, and then he passed to Caleb Irenchi. And it was so quick that before they could realize it, our ball was already in the net.
It was the same thing the Colombians did.
Exactly. So
when
why
they
didn't
brought
we
in the two
try
people?
to replicate that? It doesn't mean that if he came on, definitely we're going to score. But he's proven, at least with that one game, that he could do something. So why didn't he come on? And that's also one of the main concerns for Ghanaians as well, that really, where was Jerome Opoku when we needed him? Where was Sergeant Ajeti? I like to call him Sergeant Ajeti because that's his grandfather apparently. But I mean, he's called Ajeti. I've forgotten his first name anyway. But all those people, like that defense wall that we built against England, we didn't have that in this game against the Colombians, especially when we knew that they were a tougher side. So what went wrong? And, these players, unfortunately, of course, you heard from Jerome Opoku, and he said when it mattered the most that we had to score, we couldn't. And for him, that's the most important thing. The goal is what will take us to the next level. And unfortunately, we didn't go
I think
anywhere,
our only chance was what Thomas Partey tried in the first 5 minutes of the game. And it pained me that we didn't score. But that could have given us some stability in the end.
Well, big ups to the team anyway. We're sad, but we're still happy. So we'll take it like that. I mean, we need a complete overhaul, of Black Stars, the Ghana Football Association. To be fair, I think we do. Enough of the heartbreaks. Let's go back to scratch and fix it. And that's what Carlos Queiroz said. But quickly before we even go into his statement, so Jerome says, our World Cup journey has come to an end. The dream is over for now, but we can be proud of the run we had and the belief we reignited. Thank you for your incredible love and support throughout this journey. And then he thanks Carlos Queiroz for believing in him when many didn't. Because I remember the first game, he did say something about the fact that he was an underdog. And people didn't expect much from him, but he came on and he proved, to people that he can do it. But we knew
he was a man of tactics anyway.
No, but I think you could tell that he's probably an underdog. He's been underestimated for a long time. And so this was his opportunity to prove himself, and I think he did. Now, Benjamin Asare, who did not get to play this time around, and there are divided opinions as to whether he would have caught that ball or whether, Atizigi is the best person to have, gone into that goal post.
But he too is being praised.
Oh, yes, of course.
That he saved 6
that's
out of the 7.
Of course. So it's divided at this point because there are those who think that Benjamin Asare should have been the one to play because he proved himself after he came on when Atizigi got injured in our first game and then played against England as well. But there are also those who think that Atizigi was the best option at that point. It's really up to you to decide who you think did it. But at the end of the day, we were still kicked out anyway. But Benjamin Asare says your unwavering support meant everything to us. We know we could have done better, and for that we're sorry. But this is not the end. We'll learn, we'll grow, and we'll come back stronger.
That's a statement I don't like to hear. And I've heard, I think the GFA president, Ezekiel Tokweko, also say that there are so many lessons we've learned. How many times are we going to learn and implement the things we've learned just so we can make progress and move forward? We're always learning. I'm not saying we shouldn't learn, but...
but that's what Carlos also said in his statements. Even though he's left us confused, we are discombobulated at this point because we don't even understand whether his statement meant that he's done with the Black Stars or at the end where he says that something about future. Let's just look at the statement on the screen. So he says, and this was tweeted 11 hours ago, to Ghana, football, like life, teaches us one timeless lesson. You either win or you learn. Beatrice's favorite word, learn. I leave this journey with pride in what we achieved. So listen, I leave this journey with pride in what we achieved, but also with a healthy dissatisfaction of those who always wanted more. Reaching a higher level should never be the destination. It should be the beginning of even greater ambitions. Then this is where we need to really, understand what he meant. He says the future of the Black Stars will not be built only on the pitch. Black Stars' success must start off the field by creating the best possible environment to prepare, protect, and develop Ghana's extraordinary football talent. To my president and board, thank you so much for the opportunity to serve the Ghana national football team. It was an honor and privilege to serve the country and the Black Stars. To my players and staff, my deepest gratitude for your courage, your commitment, and unwavering dedication to the team. To the fans, we cannot claim complete sporting satisfaction, but we can proudly say that we honor the colors of Ghana and restore the respect and credibility to the Black Stars on football's greatest stage. Thank you, Ghana. The journey starts now to the future. What does that mean?
But
because 1 minute he says that the journey had ended. Then now he says that the journey starts now to the future. So let's go back to where he says the journey ends now, blah, blah, blah. Then he says the journey starts now. So it's like a lot of people assumed that based on this statement, he was resigning from the Black Stars team as coach, even though his contract clearly has room for him to stay until August. So now we're not sure. He says, I leave this journey with pride. Which journey? Are we talking about the Black Stars journey?
His journey of
the World Cup
coaching
journey
the stars.
or coaching?
Yes,
but that's what we don't understand.
Okay, for some funny reason, I understand everything he said. That yes, probably he's decided to move on, but with what he's told them, that it's beyond the pitch, it's rather off the pitch and the field and all of that. They should ensure that they create best possible environment to prepare, protect, and develop Ghana's extraordinary football talent. Based on this, if you're going to implement this, then the journey starts. Because let's not forget that he said that reaching a higher level should never be the destination. It should be the beginning of even greater things or greater ambitions. So the beginning of greater ambitions should start now. That's how
you understand it.
Yes.
But I've seen sports journalists who have inside information indicates that this statement does not mean that he's resigning from the Black Stars, and that it could just mean that he was referring to the end of the World Cup because he still has until August to leave. So that's why I'm saying that at this point we're all confused because we don't know.
Let's wait for that press conference to tell us what's the way
There'll
forward.
Be a press conference
with him. I don't know.
Because this is a press conference. And in fact, now I'm even hearing that apparently even the Football Association was not expecting a statement because he had not communicated to them directly. And then they saw this pop up on the screen on social media. So they're wondering what went wrong at what point and all that. But maybe we should activate the phone lines if it's possible. We should hear from the rest of Ghanaians, see what they think.
Yes, it will not be bad
about this. Oh, unfortunately, we cannot activate the phone lines.
Okay.
I wish we could.
Let me just read this one message and then we can take that break. Bonti Benjamin says, Beatrice, which serious audit firm or agency will use 6 years to audit a polyclinic project? If we don't change the way we do things, the poor Ghanaian will be denied basic amenities for long, all because of certain individuals' interests. Lord have mercy. With an exclamation sign. Bonti Benjamin, thank you very much for your messages. A number of you have sent in your messages. We are unable to read all of them. Thank you for sending them. We do apologize. We can't read them. But let me remind you that you can pack up your day the Milky Way with a rich, smooth taste of Peck Milk Shortcake. It is just pure delight. Go to any grocery shop, buy you and buy one for yourself and your loved ones. Well, I wanted to read
just quick one. So I found the tweet. It's from Gary L. Smith. And he tweeted this 9 hours ago and said, Carlos Queiroz has not officially written and or communicated anything official to the Ghana FA about an intention to leave. Post on his official Facebook page, which says, I leave this journey with pride, came as a surprise to the authorities, especially because he is on a 4-month contract that is yet to expire. Statement is causing uncertainty because it's not clear if he means I leave the World Cup journey with pride or I leave the Black Stars journey with pride. Clarification to be sought from the 73-year-old, and he says more to follow.
Yeah.
And so we've been left in a conundrum at this point. We are waiting to know if we're still... But do you think he should stay?
So his main objective was to help Ghana at least make some progress at the World Cup. It depends on how he treats his integrity. If he thinks that he's performed, to continue. But again, it would only be fair if you give him a bit more time to, as it were, familiarize himself with the team. Because he just came... Was it March? No, was it May? No, he came before May. Yeah. And really, he hasn't spent a lot of time with the team, and yet he's been able to achieve this, although it's not really what we expected. We expected more from him, like his statement said. It depends on the FA and also his own, how he treats his integrity.
But you're a stakeholder, that's what I'm asking you what you think about it.
Yes.
Don't ask me because we We'll take a break at this point, and when we get back, we'll get straight into the big issue.
around us is changing, not slowly, not quietly. In the north, the rains that once arrived on time don't come anymore. In the middle belt, rivers and forests disappearing overnight. Along the coast, the sea is swallowing land that families have called home for generations. Rising temperatures, failed harvests, homes lost to tides. This is not a warning about tomorrow. This is the world right now. TV3 and the German Embassy in Ghana. The conversation on climate security implications in Ghana. The Climate Talks 2026. 5 cities, 5 conversations, 1 urgent call to action. Tamale, Bolgatanga, Kumasi, Keta, Accra. Starting this June 2026. The climate talks are coming, and this time, the people most affected by Ghana's climate security crisis will be at the center of it all. Because the time for Ghana to act is now.
From the rich traditions of the North, our beauty has been our strength, pride, and heritage. For 20 years, Ghana's most beautiful has celebrated the beauty and soul of our nation. And this year, I pass on the crown to the 20th queen.
Who wears the 20th anniversary crown? Are you that bold, beautiful, graceful, and proud Ghanaian lady to win the all-new 20th anniversary crown? 200,000 Ghana cedis cash, a brand new car, an all-expense-paid trip abroad, is scholarship for a master's program, participate in an international event, an ambassadorial deal, a set of gold jewelry, and many more. Join the audition journey. Massive on 8th July at Micklin Hotel. Takrady on 10th July at the Western Serene Atlantic Hotel. In Accra on 12th July at TV3. Scan the QR code now to register.
GMB at 20. 20 years of culture, grace, and legacy.
Ghana's most beautiful is 20 years.
Brought to you by Gino Pomo Tomato Mix, GTP, Kivo Gari 4-in-1 Mix, and Kivo Hot Pepper. Obwasib Numna Wumwankasa, Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil, Fratelli Calip. When is
You're welcome back, and it's TV3 Newday. It's time now for the big issues. My guests are seated. I believe you're seated in front of your TV sets as well if you're watching us at home or in the office. Well, let me just remind you that beyond the free-to-air channels, you can also watch us on DSTV channel 279. Also on social media, you can find us on Facebook and YouTube at TV3 Ghana. Remember to drop your comments, your questions, and your opinions as we get into our big topics for today. Would love to hear from you. And at the moment, yes, we have a few messages coming in from Nana Sinti Misa. Good morning to you. And I'll be saying good morning to a number of you as we move along. But this morning, we're looking at two very important topics. Now, over the weekend, we're told that the former National Food Buffer Stock Company CEO, Abdul Hanan Wahab Lubida, that's his name, yes indeed, and he was picked up at the airport when he was traveling or attempting to travel out of the country for some medical checkup. And he was granted leave by the court because you know that he is currently in court facing some criminal charges, about 20 charges against him by the state. And his lawyers were able to get him a leave to travel out of the country from the High Court so he can go see his opticians. And so he was supposed to be out for a number of days, about 4 days or so, before he comes back for the trial to continue on the 15th of July. For some reason, he was picked up when he was trying to leave the country over the weekend. And according to the Deputy Attorney General, who posted on his Facebook page, it's because they picked insights on the fact that he had tried to use someone to allegedly withdraw funds from a frozen account, which is related to this matter. His lawyers, however, do not agree with this assertion because as far as they're concerned, charges were dropped and then new charges were filed. And so previous charges against him meant that if they were dropped, then, of course, the frozen accounts also did not hold because a fresh case had been started altogether. So we'll get into that conversation. And then after that, we'll look at Accra and Ghana post-floods. How are we recovering? What are we doing to ensure that we're able to restore some order in this country? In the studios and right next to me is the former head of public affairs at Cocoa Board, Mr. Fifi Boafo. Well, Fifi and Kofi is almost the same, right? Thing, yeah. Yes, but Fifi Boafo, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I could have been better, but it's not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. Were you expecting the rains this morning? Did you get the message?
Yeah, I got a message from the Ministry of Interior.
Yes. Okay.
But it's just been drizzling. We are hoping it just stays like that.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, they said moderate rain, so I don't know if that includes showers or that's light. But we hope that nothing serious happens after, right?
Yeah. Considering what has happened or what happened a week ago, now you are afraid to have rains. It's not a good one.
Whereas in the past, you know, when it's raining, you're excited because you can go and get to play in the rain and all that. Now when it rains, you're not sure if, you know, a life is going to be lost, if your house is going to be inundated with flood waters.
Considering the harrowing stories of people who have been affected by it, this is the last thing you wish for at this time.
Absolutely. But good to have you in the studio. Andrew Apia Dankwa is the Director of Legal Affairs for the United Party. Good morning, Council.
Yeah, good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great yourself.
I'm fine. I hope your house wasn't flooded.
No.
Okay.
No, okay. I didn't. In fact, I didn't know what's called. There were floods until I got into town last week. Wow. And then I saw the unfortunately I couldn't come because, you know, around the Bema camp, a live wire fell into. So that's why I couldn't come last week.
Okay.
But I didn't know because fortunately our area didn't experience flooding, but it's sad because, like you rightly said, growing up when we saw the clouds, we started singing "Mbobanye, Abeli Baba."
Abeli Baba, yes.
Right now it's Mbofane Kanye. Otherwise we would die. It's sad. I think the whole country should bow. All of us should bow our heads down in shame. We feel this country. We feel this country.
Well, Hamza Suyini is also here. He's a private legal practitioner, member of the NDC. Good morning to you as well.
Good morning, Bella. A proud member of the National Democratic Congress.
A proud member?
Proud member. I know my brother is quite jealous, but that's the naked reality.
Which of them, Fifi?
Fifi, of course.
Why would he be jealous?
Why would I be jealous?
Why, he wants to join your party?
Hell no.
It's an envy.
Hey.
It's an envy. The NDC has become an important brand in the politics of this country. especially considering the kind of changes that we championed in the last 8 years in opposition and rebranding and repositioning the party, not only to be responsive to the present needs of the people of this country, but most importantly, even future needs of the party, of the government, of the country. So clearly, anybody with that political inkling will be interested in associating with the National Democratic Congress. Mind you, I am not saying that we are perfect in terms of the policies and implementation of policies that we are championing, but the commitment gives a certain impression about a party that is responsive to the needs, that is committed to actually living up to expectation, and most importantly, a party that will not take for granted the confidence reposed in it by the good people of this country. Humility at the core of the politics of the NDC.
We hear you, Council. We hear you. But good morning to Ni Odoe Yemo and to Pearl Aflapui. I've seen your messages. Neodate Mills as well. He says that good morning, Brazil has been eliminated. I got a shocker yesterday because I'm a Brazil and France fan. So I was hoping that at least Brazil will also go and join France. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. But let's even talk about the Black Stars. Very quickly, I want to get my thoughts, my guest thoughts on elimination from the round of 32, and then we'll get into our conversation. Fifi, did you even watch the game?
Of course.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm a big football fan.
Ah.
Oh, yeah. Your colleague, Utieje, he's my argument partner.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So usually when there are games or decisions, we'll get on the phone and then we'll start arguing.
But were you disappointed?
I think my disappointment stems from the kind of football we played, not the fact that we were eliminated. Because I was only praying for us to at least go beyond the group stages. I am not one of the people who were expecting us to win the World Cup, as the Minister for Sports was claiming, because I was wondering how we're going to achieve that.
We're allowed to dream, are we not?
Oh, sometimes it's important, not sometimes, it's important to be realistic. Man know thyself. If you consider the materials we had, it is not one that can give you that result. If you look at the quality some of the teams are displaying at the World Cup and what we have, we need to be at least honest with ourselves and know that, yeah, Charlie, this one day, we know rich. We are not there yet. And at least it was good. We won our first game. The second match, we were able to draw against England. It brought a lot of excitement in Ghanaians. Unfortunately, we did not win any game after that. But, well, the excitement it gave us, we are happy. And it's important for us to build upon what we achieved. I will not be too hard on the team. Yes, some of the players disappointed us. There are players like Kamadin, like Fatau, like Nyama and Co, who we thought, at least from 2022 to this stage, they would have come of age. And they've given us a better representation than what they gave us previously. Because when we went to the Qatar World Cup, we were considered the youngest team at the World Cup. So after 4 years, they should mature, they should play better. Players like Jerome Opoku and his partner, is it Ajete?
Ajete,
yes. These were players we were not expecting much from, because the Jiku and Salisu were our main centre backs. They were not there. But I think they distinguished themselves well in the absence of Jiku and Salisu. Our goalkeepers, both of them were not bad. I think they did their very best. But unfortunately, our team was just not good enough. Well, we've played the part. Time to come home, go back to the drawing board. I think the coach has I know the coach has resigned and is giving us something to ponder over. But we won't spend all the day talking about this one. But
of course.
We congratulate the team, but we should also be too excited about Charlie Yashada and Papa Biasa, and we just have to build upon it.
I see. Well, Prince says that Bella Jordan from the past World Cup recorded 0 shots, took his EPL team to Championship and now Division 1, and he was our captain. How? And our striker? Okay, we hear you. For you to talk. Good morning, Council.
So good morning to your lovely viewers. Once again, good morning to my co-panelists here. Well, my overall assessment of the team is that they exceeded my personal expectation.
They exceeded or didn't?
They exceeded my
okay.
personal expectation.
Okay.
Then when they got my hopes up, then they disappointed me against Colombia, unfortunately. I think, as I said here, in my opinion, this was one of the least talented Black Star teams I've ever seen. But they won me over with their spirit. They had this indomitable spirit, and for me, it got me really excited, and it reaffirmed my belief that commitment will always trump talent. Now, the reason why I was disappointed with the defeat was because I honestly believe that we could have beaten Colombia. And it was also the circumstance of the defeat, as in one of the heroes for me was Senaya, and the fact that Alidu came on and he took such a long time before he adapted himself to the system. Also, I think the coach made some decisions that that were particularly shocking for me. Because one thing I know is that you shouldn't change your back four, no matter what. I think Ajiti had done very well, so I don't know the basis for changing him from the starting lineup. And I think our keeper also didn't communicate because at least if you understand football, there's a certain natural progression of players depending on the play, and you realize that when the ball went, there was nobody tackling the guy because our number 4, Lucasen, was nowhere to be seen. But having said, I think the bigger issue that comes from this World Cup brings to mind is the lack of the production of talent in our country, and for me, it goes to the very root of.
Is it a lack of the production of talent?
Yes. It is, because when we were growing up, we had Munchindi. Would you believe me if I said I played football?
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I played football.
So you could have been a star?
Yeah, I played football in a total school, played football in Tech. But then because in those days, there was a system. There was Munchindi, there was schools. I grew up in the Latibegoshi areas. And at that time, every Saturday, you knew that there were course matches at the Salvation Army Park. There was course matches at Presby Park. There were course matches at Interfa. But right now, and if I'm drawing sports beat in those days, there was a whole segment for course matches, so power lines, and right now we don't. GF has become all about what's it called, the Black Stars, and also I think that the sports ministry also ought to realign. You understand? I think there's a certain discussion that ought to be had. What's the state of GFE? Because it's a private entity that always finds a way of taking public monies, and then when it comes, they tell us that listen, they are private and so nobody can comment. All the monies that we have gained from the numerous World Cups that we have gone to, what has been the level of investment in grassroots football? I think we should have that conversation. We should look critically at the entire, not just football, sports, and find a way of dealing with the grassroots, because that's how we can get our talents.
Okay. Alaji, can I call you Alaji? Are you an Alaji yet? Is that okay?
Yes, I am.
Okay, yes. I just wanted to address you properly. So, what about you? I mean, there are even concerns about Carlos Cruz and whether he should stay or not.
Oh, he's gone.
He's gone. That's for.
Well,
good morning. Good morning.
Not to be too sure about his statement, yes. Because apparently he might be staying. Yes. So, well, the sports journalists have put it out that we shouldn't conclude just yet on his statement. So I don't know.
Well, good morning to my colleagues in the studio, our cherished viewers, and of course, most importantly, your production team. Bella, interestingly, the last match I didn't watch. I just decided that I was not going to stay.
Oh, you decided? Yes, I thought maybe you were tired because it was pretty late.
No, I was not. Oh. It was just a personal decision that I was not going to subject myself to any form of trauma because for some strange reason, my spirits were down throughout the day. So I could feel it. I could feel that, look, this was not going to end well. And I trust my instincts, especially when it comes to stuff of that nature. So I decided not to stay awake to subject myself to that trauma. But that being said, you simply cannot discount the sacrifices of the Black Stars, regardless of how we feel in terms of the performance. They did well and they exceeded our expectations. Indeed, many of us counted them out from the word go because of the losses they recorded in their friendlies, even before the actual tournament. So for them to have gotten to that stage, I think that it is only proper we commend them. But like the coach also indicated, it presents an opportunity for us to do some self-introspection as far as our football is concerned. There are those who argue that the state of the Black Stars is actually the state of our economy. Is the state of our country in terms of how we are not committed fully to development initiatives. And so maybe the time has come for us to change that trajectory. Yeah. Let us use football, most importantly Black Stars, to signal our readiness to ensure change as far as our country is concerned. Because you see, one of the inherent challenges of the Black Stars, whichever way you look at it, has to do with internal corruption in terms of how the players are selected, in terms of those who are made to play. That affects the quality of the Black Stars. So maybe the time has come for us to go and build institutions that can guarantee that those who are best in what they do are actually allowed to play. Someone like Fatah Al-Hassan, I don't know why you reached that conclusion, but I think that he was one of the outstanding players.
I have serious hopes for that guy. I believe that he should be at the peak of his career. Fantastic footballer. My only disappointment is because he has not reached that height I expect of him, because I think that Fatah should be among the best players in the EPL.
No, but that depends. Yeah, I agree. But in terms of the Black Stars,
he has the talent.
Yes, in terms of the Black Stars, it depends on the role that he's allowed to play. Remember that he was a substitute player most of the time, and any time he was brought in, you saw the impact of his coming in. Yeah. But I remember the match before this Colombia match. I was complaining because I think he was brought in to play on the wing 7. Then in no time, he was swapped. And immediately they swapped him to the 11 side. We hardly noticed his presence in the pitch again. And so some of these things too is also largely technical. I am not saying that the coach was not apt for that role, but I think that even as far as the technical bench is concerned, there are things we can consider going forward. So, Bella, not disappointed, but I think that we could have done better. And every tournament, we sit around discussions of this nature and call on the GFA to change. They never change.
Should Kurt go?
Hopefully. Who?
Kurt go.
I have no idea.
Efo Yesuto says that
I don't have a position on this matter.
Is the problem. Atipo Kuanukwame, good morning to you. Agongo says Kurt should have resigned before the World Cup tournament. I see. Hey, people have a lot to say. The GFA must be dissolved and new faces should be brought in. That's day more. Okay, we'll leave it here because if we get into this conversation, I don't think we'll be done anytime soon. But let's talk about our first main topic for today. So the former NAFCO CEO, Abdul Hanan, was arrested at the Accra International Airport over the weekend. And of course, we're told that it happened on Saturday night. It was announced by the Deputy Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Dr. Justice Shrem Sai, in a Facebook post. And in that post, he indicated that it was Mr. Alu Diba's attempts to use false means to empty his frozen bank account with Republic Bank on Thursday, which occasioned Saturday night's arrest. Well, his lawyers have been pushing back on this development. In fact, they say that these allegations are false. They are disappointed in the Attorney General, the Deputy Attorney General, and the BNI Director as well for, putting out this statement and clearly putting out a false statement, according to Mr. Godfred Dame. And he says that there's no evidence to show that his accounts were frozen and that he even attempted to withdraw falsely, like the Attorney General had indicated. And so in that case, they say they are going to file a case of contempt against the BNI Director, against the Deputy Attorney General and the Attorney General as well. But let's listen to Godfred Dame at this point, because he had attempted to even see his client at the BNI head office over the weekend, and unfortunately he was not allowed to do so. Take a look.
The opportunity to see our client at all. Indeed, we were told flatly that they don't allow lawyers to see their clients on weekends. And that's quite perplexing. I'm surprised. If a person is arrested, say on Friday night or Saturday, he will be in without access to counsel. I mean, that's the republic in which we live now. And indeed, he's been picked up for no reason. As far as someone said, just been banded off into custody for no reason whatsoever. He's been given the right to leave the country, to travel to the country for a few days by a court of competent jurisdiction. The Deputy Attorney General himself was in court and argued, and this colleague of mine argued that day. And if indeed he had any objection to the order granted, he only had to appeal. But he had to sort this surreptitious means of preventing from traveling. I think that this is totally unwarranted and unnecessary.
Yeah, so the Deputy Attorney General also took to his Facebook post to make some comments that your client attempted emptying his frozen bank account. How true is that?
That claim is totally false. It's untrue. Did he produce to the public any evidence? Did he produce to you the manner or the evidence of the manner in which he attempted to withdraw? Because there's no such evidence. It is not true. My client has never attempted to withdraw any money from his account, even though it is important to state that presently there's no order of any court of competent jurisdiction preventing from accessing his account. The only order that they had was procured over a year ago before the discontinuance of the earlier prosecution. And we have a court ruling, a ruling of the High Court Adenta about 3 weeks ago to the effect that that order has lapsed and that if the Attorney General indeed desires to come for a fresh freezing order, he has to apply to the court. He has not done so. There is no order of any court preventing him from accessing his funds. Be that as it may, he has not accessed any funds at all. He should produce to the public, to the whole Ghanaian Republic, for us to see the manner in which he claims Hanan attempted to withdraw any money from the account. He has not issued any check. He has not executed any withdrawal note served on any bank. So how did he attempt to withdraw funds? And indeed, how do you access funds which are held in a frozen account, according to Attorney General? According to Attorney General, the account is frozen. If the account is frozen, how do you withdraw money from the frozen account? I mean,
so that's the former Attorney General who is now the legal representative for Hanan Abdul Wahab. Hanan Abdul Wahab, that's his name. And his war started actually back in October 2025 when the Attorney General at a press conference indicated that he had allegedly embezzled or misappropriated over 40 million Ghana cedis, paid some of that money into his own account, money that was meant for school feeding from the National Food Buffer Stock Company. He had misappropriated that money and sent some into his own personal account, business account. His wife allegedly also received some money as well. Along the line, of course, he was arrested, and then he, along with his wife, were granted a 150 million Ghana cedis bail. Then we're told that even though the charges were still holding at that point, along the line, they were dropped by the Attorney General. But just when they were leaving the court, Iyoko rearrested him and his wife, and fresh charges were given to him and his wife and 3 other individuals as well. So as it stands now, he's facing some 20 counts. And the charges actually include stealing, defrauding by false pretense, abuse of public office for profit, money laundering as well. And that's what he's facing now. But his lawyers were able to get him, or get the High Court to grant an application for him to travel out of the country. You heard his lawyer say that he had to go and see his optician out of the country. And so he was supposed to travel out for just a few days and come back. But earlier, when he was arrested, you remember that his accounts were also frozen. Now, the Deputy Attorney General says that it was this attempt to withdraw from this frozen account, allegedly, which led to his arrest. Fifi, I'll start off with you. What are your thoughts on this?
I find what is happening very troubling. I think that respect for judicial authority and rule of law is being trampled upon by governments and agencies of government, because I am struggling to understand why this will happen. This is a man who has gone to court, appealed to the court to be granted leave to travel out of the country. The Attorney General was indeed a court, laid grounds for which, if the gentleman had met, they would not have issues with him traveling. Indeed, these 3 grounds he raised were all met by Mr. Hanan, and indeed the court went on to grant him the opportunity to travel. This is a man who is not well. This is a man who is supposed to meet his optician today. And this is the man who today is behind BNI cell bars. Why must this happen? The excuse from the Attorney General is that he decided to take money from a frozen account. Maybe my colleagues on the table will help me understand how that is possible. That somebody can take money from a frozen account. Granted, that was the case. is arresting him. When did this happen? So let me start from, when did that happen?
When did what exactly happen?
The supposed attempt to take money from a frozen account. When did it happen? Why was there no action? Because bear in mind, he was traveling on a Saturday, and this supposed attempt couldn't have happened on a weekend. If indeed it happened, it would have happened during the week. They did not take any action. The man was in town. They did not arrest him. Only waited for him to get to the airport at the time he's traveling out of the country, and he's arrested.
So it says here, per the Deputy Attorney General's post, that it was, however, Mr. Ludibes's attempt to use false means to empty his frozen bank account with Republic Bank on Thursday, which occasioned Saturday night's arrest.
That makes my point. This happened on Thursday. So at what point did they come to the notice of the Attorney General? When? I think Godfrey Dame has challenged them to adduce evidence to back the claim that indeed Hanan attempted to take monies or to withdraw money from the frozen account. We are yet to get the evidence from the Attorney General. So I underscore, I will side with what the lawyers for Hanan are saying, because indeed there has not been any evidence to back that claim.
Well, the Attorney General is going to court today, we're told, to seek a review of the court order. And so maybe they would adduce that evidence to the court. Is that not where the evidence should be presented?
So what was the point in arresting him? There's a man who has been given permission by the court to travel. The permission that was given by the court, it was not to say that he was going to be away outside the country the rest of his life. He was just going to the hospital and return back to continue the case.
I think from the 4th to the 7th.
Yes.
That was the period he was.
And here, the Attorney General says you cannot go. The evidence has not been given. Bear in mind, and I think the soundbite you played, Godfrey Dame talked about it, that there was a court ruling that said that, well, because you have discontinued the case and you have now brought fresh charges, all assets that were frozen, you have to come back to court, seek permission of the court to freeze those assets. Has that been done? It has not been done. So what was the authority on which they said that he was going into an account that was frozen? How was the account frozen? If you've not gone back to court, because you cannot rely on the previous action you took because you decided to discontinue the case. And now you are going to rely on that to say that because of it, he cannot travel. So one, there's no evidence to back the claim that indeed Hanan was attempting to withdraw money from the account.
If evidence is eventually adduced,
it has not been.
Would you retract that statement that...
I said, as we speak, we do not have any evidence.
If it is provided.
Even if there is evidence, the question is, on what authority is the Attorney General saying that he cannot access the account? Because there's a ruling of the High Court, which I have a copy here. There's a ruling of the High Court that says that if you want to freeze his assets, you have to come back because the assets you froze at the time was as part of the process of the first action you took against him in court, which the Attorney General decided, without nobody forcing him, decided to discontinue and start the case afresh. So what was the point? You know what? We are setting a very bad precedent in this country. And I believe that all of us as Ghanaians must watch this. Because today, it is Abdul Hanan. Tomorrow, it could be any other person. Recently, there was something very profound that was said by two cabinet ministers. And I believe maybe the Attorney General should take a cue from that. It was a statement that was made by the Minister for Education, Honorable Haruna Idrisu. And then also a statement that was made by the Minister for Interior.
What did they say?
They said that this whole idea of giving people bail condition of 500,000, 500 million, 300 million, A bail condition, you may have to sell your entire community before you can raise. You may have to sell your entire community. And if your community is just like mine, maybe your entire community may not be able to even raise that amount of money. Government should watch it, and we must stop it. We are gradually finding every means possible to punish people even before the court pronounces them guilty of an offense. As we speak, Hanan, we've only charged him. He should have his rights and liberties to travel when he wishes to travel. So if the person who has a right to travel indeed has gone to the court and the court says, yes, you can travel, and nicodemously, government officials decide to frustrate him, take him to BNICL and say that it's even weekend, so your lawyers can't even have access to you.
When you say Nicodemus, they have given a reason why they arrested him. And you see, when I read...
The reason is not backed with any evidence.
I'm just sampling opinions on even our Facebook page. And across the board, a number of people are saying that, what if we get a replay of the Ken Ofori-Atta incident where he says he was going for healthcare, he needed to see a doctor badly, he went... didn't come back, kept giving excuses, and now we're told that his green card application has been granted. What if that happened to Hanan as well, which is what the Attorney General's office was trying to stop?
If that is the position, then going forward, anyone who is suspected of a crime, we should lock the person up because the person could run away. If that is the position, that the mere fact that there is a court action against you, you are not supposed to, you are not at liberty to your freedoms as an individual, then we should lock them up. That is not the law. The law says you are presumed innocent until a competent court has pronounced you guilty of an offense. Has the court pronounced Hanan guilty of any offense? The answer is no. He has a right as an individual. The mere fact that you've been charged does not mean that you are guilty of an offense. And you have every right. Wait a minute.
Nobody has proclaimed guilt on him necessarily.
So why take away his right to travel?
Why take it away?
Yes.
Well, let's wait and see if there'll be evidence adduced to indicate
you
that
are
really...
pushing a very dangerous argument, and I do not want you to push this argument.
Who is pushing that argument?
You.
I'm asking questions. I'm not pushing any arguments
you are pushing that argument.
I'm not advancing any arguments. I'm asking you questions.
And I have answered
it, but my job on this
I have answered
I have every right to borrow into whatever statement you say
I have answered it, but
which is what I'm doing.
You are still pushing the same argument.
So don't put out the narrative that I'm pushing an argument. I'm asking you a question, and I did say I predicated my statement by saying I'm sampling opinions from people.
There has not been any evidence. So stop. Let us not get into the conversation.
Fifi, hold on.
If we should bring that evidence,
let's have a very friendly conversation.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I will not accept if you say I am advancing an argument, because I'm not here to advance arguments.
That's how it sounds to me.
I'm here to make inquiries, to ask questions. And if you make a statement, I have every right to ask you questions following that.
Okay.
Now, I did mention that based on opinions, even on our Facebook page alone, there are concerns that if he had left, maybe we could have seen a replay of Ken Ofori-Atta's case, which is why they thought, or some people are thinking, that maybe it was right for him to be arrested. But at the same time, we also have a statement from the Deputy Attorney General who says that it's because of A, B, C, and D that he was arrested. I'm asking that if that evidence is provided, will that change your stance on the matter? How is that an advancement of an argument?
I have made the point, and you keep bringing back the conditional statement that if that is the case. And I'm saying that we are not supposed to get into a point of conjecture. We are not there yet. Tomorrow, if the Attorney General produces evidence, we can have that conversation.
Okay.
On this table, we do not have any such evidence from the Attorney General.
Okay.
And that is the premise I want us to proceed.
Let me bring
And I am only saying that it is also dangerous that we allow conditional situations to inform our decision going forward. Because if that is the case, then I could also assume that, okay, tomorrow, Hamza may do this. So because of that, his liberty as an individual must be taken away from him. And I think that is a dangerous precedent we should not entertain in this country.
All right. Counsel, come in on this matter for me, because the other concern is can the Deputy Attorney General on their own, or the Attorney General's office on their own, just go and arrest someone who has clearly leave from the court to travel out of the country? Should they not have gone back to the court first of all?
That's a very good question, and I must commend you for your courage to inquire. That's your job. Nobody should gag you, but yeah, nobody should gag her. Allow Bella to ask the questions. Allow her to ask.
Unnecessarily agitated.
Allow her to ask the questions. Understand? And I must comment
when your brother is behind bars.
No, because she's asking very good questions.
When the shoe is on the wrong foot.
I recall when I became a lawyer fresh, and I went to court, and after court, I was being insulted heavily by the people on the other side, a labor issue. And I came back to the chamber to complain to my senior. But the senior said, it means you are doing a very good job. Keep it up. So it means you are doing a very good job.
Thank you very much.
So, you see, this is a very serious issue, if you ask me. I think this issue is not about Hanan. For me, I think this issue is something bigger than Hanan himself. I think this conversation is one about our constitution and our fidelity to the constitution. Understand that the MPP, as they stand now, and their members, some of their members, because of the way they've handled some issues, because of the way they've shown lack of fidelity to our constitution, it is very easy to drive a narrative that seeks to hang them. But I think we ought to understand that politics is not personal, and our fidelity must always be to our constitution, irrespective of who is at the other end. And so in spite of the extent to which some members of the New Patriotic Party and the manner in which the party itself sat aloof for the government they sponsored to show lack of fidelity to our constitution, we should never deviate from our desire to continuously stay faithful to our constitution. Because in 1992, all of us came together and agreed that the best way in which we can protect our lives, our right to our lives, the best way in which we can protect our right to our liberties, the best way in which we can protect our right to pursue our own happiness is under a system that is governed by the constitution, and to adopt for ourselves a democracy which was constitutional in nature, that is limiting the powers of state. And to that end, we had a constitution that deliberately separated the powers of government and then gave to the judicial powers to make orders. I think you've nailed it. The issue is where a court has given an order, and yet the order here was not just to give leave. The court actually ordered that Hanan's passport be granted him and that he be allowed to travel for a number of days for medical checkup. Yeah. To the fact that he was going outside the country just for an eye issue. It's even an indictment on us. If politicians feel that for just their eye, they don't trust any hospital in Ghana, he has to go outside, is the problem. But that's beside the point. The point is, like you rightly said, does the AG have the powers, in spite of the clear orders of the court, you understand, to arrest Hanan? I think for me that's the issue. The reasons about whether some accounts were frozen or they were not frozen is, for me, it's neither here nor there, because I think there are also the case you mentioned is just one case, but there are also authorities that suggest that the fact that an action has been seized, that does not vacate an order of the court, a freezing order of the court. The circumstances will always dictate that, and the terms of the order itself. You understand? But having said that, my personal view is that where an order of the court still exists, where that order has not been vacated, you understand? Where no step has been taken to procure an order that will stay execution of that order, where that order has not been varied, then also based on the principle that justice must not only be done, it must manifestly be seen to be done. I feel that it was wrong for the AG to have taken a step at they took. Because like I'm saying, right now, because of the extent to which the MPP has sunk low, it's so easy to support any bid to hang them. But part of the reset agenda also includes a renewal of our commitment to our constitution. I think is a huge part of it. Because I've said here on so many times that I believe that the MPP in the past were a threat to the rule of law. Understand? Now, because of all that, I think the easiest thing for you to do right now is to sidestep the call for us to be faithful to our constitution in attack of anybody of the MPP stock. But like I'm saying, our focus always must be to stay faithful to our constitution, irrespective of who is at the end of it. Because clearly, like I'm saying, does the executive have the power? Does the executive have the power to truncate a clear order of the judiciary where steps have not been taken, like I said, to either vacate, to vary, or to stay execution? And the answer ought to be no. Ought to be no because of our general good. You understand? So for me, I see this issue more of a constitutional one, more of a call for us to show fidelity to our constitution, irrespective of who. Because I understand they are going to court today. But as it stands, that order of the court still exists. There's still an order of the court. An order of the court that says that Hanan's passport should be released to him. Yeah. An order from the court that says that Hanan should be allowed to travel. I do not know. Maybe if there is, I'm sure Hamza will bring all those issues up. If there's a stay of execution, I do not know. I do not know if there's been a variation of I don't know. I don't know if there is an injunction. There is an injunction application, because you know that a notice of an injunction is as good as an injunction. So I do not know of all the steps that the AG may have taken or can take to more or less freeze or arrest this order. I do not know. But if they are, I'm sure quickly it should be communicated to us, because that impression that this executive is more or less truncating the clear powers of the judiciary does not augur well for our republic, for this democracy, and for our constitution. Because, like I said, this reset agenda must include a renewal of our commitment to our constitution. Because over the period between 2017 and 2024, a lot was done that represented driving of a dagger into the heart of our constitution. Understand? And you recall that one of the issues that we fought why we need a reset was because of the extent to which belief or trust in our political system or in our political institution was failing because of the very terrible governance granted us during the period between 2017 and 2024. And so for me, we cannot be seen to be following that trajectory. Yeah. We need to be committed to our constitution, because that's the only way in which the purpose for this constitution can be met. And it shouldn't matter whether the person at the receiving end is Chemaun to me. It shouldn't matter whether it is, what's his name, Hanan. It shouldn't matter even if it's Ken Ufriata. At all time, our loyalty must always and only be to the constitution of this country.
So that means the constitutional rights of the person has to also be respected. In this case, you don't think that it was respected?
Because, you see, one of the critical oaths that the president took, and for me, that also represents his term of reference for his job, was an oath to be faithful to Ghana, to be faithful to the values and ideals of Ghana. Was an oath to be faithful, to uphold, defend, protect the constitution of Ghana, to dedicate himself to the well-being of all Ghanaians. And for me, that call must always be respected, irrespective of who is at the receiving end.
All right. Alhaji, so if per what the Deputy Attorney General said, the attempt to withdraw from the account happened on Thursday, and the arrest was made on Saturday, just like Council is saying, between that Thursday and Saturday, do you have any idea when the alert was given to the Office of the Attorney General, the BNI, of this attempted withdrawal? And if that's the case, did they try or attempt to go to court for a stay of injunction or anything to allow them arrest Hanan at the airport?
Bella, I think that, first of all, let me make the point that Hanan is a brother. Yeah. But beyond that, I think that he would agree with me, even if he was on this platform, that when it comes to our commitment to serving this country, it goes beyond blood bonds. Yeah. And that the most important thing is how we can all contribute meaningfully to ensuring that we meet the expectations of the Ghanaian people. And especially when it comes to the fight against corruption, familial bonds should not be a hindrance as far as that commitment is concerned. And so making that point, permit me to attempt to answer the concern that you raised. And I think that my brother also raised those concerns. First of all, it is important to state that indeed the Attorney General, Deputy AG, indicated that attempts were made to access their accounts on Thursday. But he fell short of telling us when that information came to the government. It could have been that Thursday, and maybe attempts to locate him was not feasible. And they knew that he would be traveling, and so decided to trail him until that point. This is feasible. When it comes to exercising the power of arrest, you do not determine the most, what do you think to be the ideal form of carrying out that arrest, especially if the arrest is carried within the remit of the law. So as to whether the information got to the AG on Thursday, Friday or Saturday, they determine the most feasible way to effect that arrest. And the law does not frown upon such a strategy on the part of the AG. That's one. Secondly, I disagree with your commentators who argue that maybe this decision was taken because of the Ken Ofori-Atta experience. I'm pretty much convinced that these were arguments that the Attorney General would have advanced when the application was made seeking leave to travel. And to the extent that the court proceeded to grant that leave, it simply means that these arguments were not considered strong enough, even on the part of the judge. And so that commitment to our constitutional principles can still be deduced as far as the decision of that judge is concerned in granting Hanan Aludiba the leave to travel. So I think that that point needs to be made. That to the extent that the leave was granted, it meant that regardless of these fears that people had, the judge did not find merit that this was likely to happen in the case of Hanan Aludiba. My brother also proceeded in calling on His Excellency President Mahama to actually demonstrate commitment to the resetting agenda. And of course, they at AG. I think that we have shown ample commitment to that. And I can forgive the misinterpretation placed on the recent arrest on Hanan. And maybe a further explanation would let you appreciate, Senior Counsel, that indeed this is not out of the law. There's the need for us to attempt a distinction between the court granting Mr. Hanan Aludiba permission to travel and a purported new crime committed under the law. For example, maybe putting in an example will bring clarity to it. If a court grants my brother Fifi permission to travel, and before the effective travel date, Fifi commits an offense, it does not mean that the state hands are tied in exercising their power of arrest simply because an earlier court had granted permission for him to travel.
Okay.
Are you getting the distinction here?
I'm listening.
Because, you see, Bella, they appeared before a judge. He sought for permission to travel. The judge said, okay, you are allowed to travel. Now we are being told by the Attorney General that even after the grant of that permission to travel, Mr. Hanan committed an independent crime, different from the application he sought to travel. And simply because the judge granted him leave to travel does not mean that the state cannot use that power of arrest to arrest Mr. Hanan at the airport. These are two different things. Two different things. Otherwise, the precedents we are setting in this country would be that each time you are granted leave to travel, God forbid, you can even commit murder. And because the court has granted you leave to travel, nobody would dare stop you at the airport.
But if, you know, the leave has been granted, and of course, this is still related to his case, which is in court, shouldn't the Attorney General's office now go back to the High Court, the same High Court that granted the leave of permission to leave?
The move applications for grant of leave, when they are granted, and you proceed to engage, even before it is carried out, and you proceed to engage in acts that are tantamount to a breach of the law of this country, it triggers the power of state institutions, having the power of arrest, to arrest independent of that grant of leave, even though it may be connected to the case in hand before the courts. But that cannot be misinterpreted to mean a vacation of the order of the court.
But that puts more power in the state, in the hands of the state than the judiciary that granted that leave.
No, the state has always had that power. And Bella, the point I'm making is that the fact that Hanan was granted permission to travel does not mean that if he commits a crime, for example, he slaps somebody at the airport, assault, who accuses him of embezzling state funds, it doesn't mean that the state cannot arrest Hanan there, simply because the court earlier on granted permission in relation to that same case for him to travel. When the state does that, it is not a vacation of the order of the court. That order still stands as we speak. If the Attorney General, upon investigations, realizes that there was no attempt to access that bank account, they release him, he travels. He's allowed to travel. But
in this case, he would have missed his appointment. And you see, that's why his lawyer is asking for evidence. Because if we're saying that there is some illegality that has been perpetrated at this point, is there evidence to prove this point?
So that is an excellent observation. But you see, the most important thing is that you have to know that, look, the public opinion is not where you play the evidence card. The Attorney General, in line with his constitutional duty, decided to respect the good people of this country. And these were calls made by the MPP, if you remember, when this government assumed office and the state institutions started carrying out arrest. They reissued an official statement and demanded that reasons ought to be given behind the arrest of certain former officials. And in line with our constitutional mandate, the Attorney General has been quite consistent. Anytime anybody is picked up, reasons are given. He has given reasons that, look, this is the reason why Mr. Hanan has been picked up. But when it comes to the adducing of evidence, that evidence is not to be adduced publicly. We are not to determine the veracity or otherwise of evidence that the Attorney General would submit before the law courts. It is the law courts that will do so. And the former AG ought to know that if he needs evidence of the allegations being thrown against Mr. Hanan Alodiba, it is not the granting of interview that will give him that evidence. Today, when they appear in court, the Attorney General office would present the evidence in court, and he's allowed to contest that evidence.
You're saying he will present?
Yes.
So does it mean you are aware that there's some evidence?
Absolutely.
Okay, you are.
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's evidence to the effect that there was an attempt to access the accounts. But as to whether or not the court would determine that these evidence are indeed strong or weightier enough to even warrant a review of the earlier grant of permission to travel, that is solely a decision for the court to take. And that point needs to be made. Bella, you see, when I listened to the former AG, I was worried, and that is that if Hanan is listening, or any of his family members are listening, even the choice of the Godfred Adami as counsel is not strategic.
How?
Oh, he comes with a lot of baggage.
Oh, come on.
He comes with, you see in politics and in law, even in determining your representation, you must be meticulous and you must consider all other factors. As to whether indeed the choice of counsel will help your case, it is critical. And in terms of ethics, it raises also another fundamental issue. It is the same Godfred Dami who told us in that interview that he has been denied access to his client. And you know our ethics counsel. So on what basis has he already proceeded to indicate that the client did not attempt to have access to the accounts? How did he get that information? If you are already out there denying on behalf of your client, and you have not spoken with your client according to you, because you were denied access, so on what basis are you putting up a defense of denial in terms of a claim that he attempted to access that account? On what basis?
He's been in touch with his client prior to the attempted travel. So what if he's aware of every move this client may have made?
Yes, I am telling you that, but until this arrest, he did not know that the state was onto him. And that maybe the state had information that there was an attempted access of his, what's the name of the bank? Republic Bank account. Yes. That's the assumption. Because he says that he has not spoken to the client. And we all got wind of the information when the Attorney General announced publicly that indeed they had to pick up Mr. Hanan Aludiba on the basis of A, B, C, and D. Yes. And my question is, as legal counsel, and this is where ethics comes to play, you have not spoken to your client. Whether your client attempted to access it or not, you do not know. So why are you putting your client in the box by jumping to put up a defense when you have not had access of engaging your client, according to you? Or counsel, I'm lying. It is critical.
Okay.
Because your job is to listen to your client and advise appropriately.
But what
and
he
give
says,
him all the legal options.
What he says, and quickly so I can come to Fifi, what he says is that the charges for the initial, arrest were dropped. And a new set of charges were leveled against him. And so clearly, per the way the courts work, if charges are dropped, everything else that's related to that charge should also be dropped as well, including the freezing of his bank accounts. So unless there was a new application at the High Court to have his accounts frozen all over again, it doesn't stand if the Deputy Attorney General says that his accounts are frozen.
That is a different legal argument to make in court. All what I'm telling you is that you do not proceed to put up a denial of...
But that's what he's relating to this and saying that...
No. He said that there was no attempt. If you're saying that he is allowed to access his accounts, and even if he accesses his account, he doesn't see anything wrong with that. That's a different defense. But he is telling you that there was no such attempt to access the account. Play the interview again. If his argument is that even if he attempted to access that account, nothing prevents him from doing so because per my interpretation or understanding of the law, the accounts are not frozen as we speak.
I think he made that argument also.
No, but I'm telling you that the fundamental argument he made was to the effect that, look, the man did not attempt to access the account.
But he linked it to the fact that if that's the case, in fact, as it stands now, his accounts are not frozen because there's been no application in the court of law to have those accounts frozen.
Bella, I am saying
so
that
I get you, but I'm not saying he
categorical
linked
statement
it.
that there was no such attempt is problematic
but he
and
linked it
ethically
to the issue
faulty.
of having
And to
his
the issue
accounts
of
not
the
frozen
grant,
at the moment.
we all know that even the FIC is allowed, I think, a 7-day window to freeze court accounts. What's the name? Accounts without a court order. After which they are allowed to go to court to see. What's the name? Court order to ensure that the accounts remain.
And should the person involved be made aware that his accounts are frozen?
Yes.
He should be made aware.
Yes.
In this case, was Hanan,
in relation to the, I don't have the information in relation to the court granting or waiver in terms of, simply because of the fact that the Attorney General withdrew the earlier charges meant also that any other consequential order that was given in relation to the accounts. I do know as a matter of fact that even before charges are brought, the Attorney General can go to court and secure a court order to freeze an account. And if subsequently the Attorney General goes to court on the charges, my understanding of the law is that it is independent of the charges that are brought. And so even if the Attorney General finally withdraws the charges, it does not automatically mean that the court order has been vacated. You would have to go through processes to vacate that court order.
I see. Okay. Let me bring Fifi in to find out if that process...
I said that.
Did they go through that process?
Yes, so this is a ruling of the Adenta Court, and I wish to read this portion. And this is the judge speaking. Indeed, the applicant was cautioned on 30th of June 2025, and the administrative freeze was issued on the 29th of August 2025. During investigation, it was common knowledge that the Attorney General has since 5th May 2026 withdrawn all charges against the applicant, leading to his discharge by the High Court of Accra. It is also common knowledge that the applicant has since been rearrested. The development has a direct effect on the present application because following the withdrawal of the charges against the applicant, the freezing order was automatically discharged.
So who is saying this?
This is the judge.
This is the judge.
This is the judge.
Okay, the ruling from the court.
This is the ruling of the court, and this is the Justice Kwame Jemfi Osei.
Okay.
This is his ruling. So the question is, why would you still say that the man has erred, even if he tried withdrawing money from his account? This is the ruling of the court. And let me correct a certain impression Hamza was trying to make. I believe that what Godfred has done in the legal profession is trite. There's no argument about his competence as a lawyer. I believe it is trite that Godfred is a very good lawyer to have any day to represent a client, and I do not think that we should get into this conversation of questioning why someone will opt to have Godfred as his lawyer. Let me also state that, yes, the argument Godfred has made is one. His information is that his client did not attempt to make a withdrawal from the account. And two, even if that was the case, the ruling of the court does not make that an offense, because after all, the Attorney General has started a new legal action against him, and if the decision of the Attorney General is to get the assets frozen, then the Attorney General ought to take action and get a decision to back that action. So if you've not done that, why would you do this? And you see, I wasn't too comfortable with how Apia Dankwa was proceeding by saying MPP, MPP, MPP. MPP as a political party is not in court.
Yeah.
MPP as a political party is not in court.
Yeah.
This is an individual called Hanan Abdul Wahab. You are dealing with an individual just like any ordinary Ghanaian on the streets of Ghana. So if you are treating him as a member of the NDC, then it's problematic.
A member of MPP.
A member of MPP. That's problematic because he's just a Ghanaian. Because the moment you add political color to a crime, then it becomes problematic. It becomes NDC against MPP. Okay. This is not a matter of NDC against MPP. This is an individual.
But he held position in office as a member of the MPP. Shouldn't that count?
But he's not in court because he held his MPP. He's in court because the Attorney General assumes that he has committed an act against the laws of our country. Because the moment you add political color, then it becomes a political banter. It's not a matter of politics. It is a matter of a law, somebody acting right or not. So I do not think that we should start attaching political colors. And usually in this country, that's what we do. When there's an issue, instead of addressing the issue as to whether or not somebody has done something right or not, we decide to add political color. So even if you do not even know the facts of it, the mere fact that the person is a member of your political party, start defending. Yeah. And even if the person has done something wrong, yes, it's my party member, so let me defend. I don't think that we should add political color to an offense.
So in your case here, speaking on this matter, you're here representing the MPP, you're speaking on a matter that involves an individual.
Yes,
he's Ghanaian.
He's Ghanaian.
So is that not a political color in a sense?
No, it is not. I am speaking based on information I have. I will not say that if it is just because I'm MPP and Hanan is MPP, I will just say that he's done. In fact, the court, even every action against him is wrong. They should just allow the gentleman to go and all that because it's a political matter. It is not. I am speaking based on information available. Yes, and you see, what we should note is that relationships in this country goes beyond political color. Somebody may be a friend to Hanan. Someone may be his church member. Someone may have lived in the same house with Hanan growing up. He will have a certain relationship with him. So you should not reduce every conversation in our country to politics. Because the moment you reduce it to politics, then it loses the real issues to a political matter.
Is the CEO of the National Food Buffer Stock Company not a political office?
No, it's a state office. It's not a political
state office, but who appoints the CEO?
You know, there are people who have held, and that is why we have reduced everything in this country to politics. I believe that President Mahama today should be able to look around and say that I believe Bella can occupy this position and serve a country well. You must not necessarily be a member of the NDC.
Is Hanan a member of the MPP?
Yes, he is a member of the MPP.
Okay,
and I am just saying that the fact that someone occupied a political office does not mean that he should be treated because he's MPP. Because if it is MPP, then the Attorney General is NDC, so it is me against you. It is a political banker.
But he's a member of the MPP. He was appointed by the president.
The Attorney General,
who before becoming president was the flag bearer of the MPP. So it's a political office.
So the Attorney General is prosecuting NDC agenda. Is that what he's doing? I don't think so. The Attorney General is working according to the law. And that is what Article 88 of our Constitution enjoins him to do. He's not there to serve NDC interests. He's there to serve the interest of Ghana. Yes, the NDC as a political party is there. The NDC will perform its role. As you don't get here and go at the party office, will perform their role as party executives. But people who have been appointed to serve in government, they serve government, they don't serve political parties. And that is the distinction we must get. Right?
Okay, okay. I get you.
I think that today it is Hanan. People may think that, well, it is Hanan, so let's hang him. But it is important to realize that Hanan is just an individual in the state. Today, if you support it, if you justify it, if you rationalize it, it becomes a precedent in our country when tomorrow another person is taken through such an unlawful means of punishing an individual. It becomes a precedent, and we must not encourage that.
Fifi, let me just ask you quickly before we move on to council. So, of course, based on that ruling, we now have a clear understanding that his accounts were unfrozen.
That's
right?
the claim. Yes, that's the ruling of the court.
That's what you read.
Yeah.
So, at this point, where you're saying they should provide evidence, of course, you're also reiterating what Godfrey Dam is saying, that evidence should be provided by the Deputy Attorney General that he withdrew money from his account. Are you saying then that he did not withdraw at all, or are you saying he did, but it is from an account that's unfrozen? I need to understand that.
Okay, so my information which the briefing I have received is that he did not make the attempts. And I'm making the point that even if he did, it does not in any way constitute an offense based on the ruling the court gave.
So he didn't use someone to try to withdraw as well?
We do not have that information.
Okay.
And you see, the Attorney General, bear in mind, earns salary for my taxes and your taxes. The Attorney General, he works for us as Ghanaians. So if the Attorney General is making any statement, we must demand of him to provide evidence to back that statement. So it goes beyond just prosecuting Hanan. This is an employee of the state. An employee of the state, you have a responsibility to the people.
Okay. Counsel, let me bring you on this matter because he's given us that ruling as well. So does this change the dynamics of the situation?
Well, not
if indeed the accounts were unfrozen.
Not for me, because I think and I'm sure my brother here didn't listen to what I said earlier, because what he's saying was exactly what I said. I brought MPP in because I'm saying that in spite of all the...
Allow him, he didn't interject.
No.
He didn't interject,
when
Fifi,
speaking,
so please allow him. No, Fifi, that's unfair. You made a statement directly to him, and he's responding to it.
As when you were speaking, I didn't agree with what you were saying, but I kept quiet. So please keep quiet and listen to me. You see, the fact I was alluding to was simply that, in spite of all the negativity the MPP gave us, in spite of their lack of commitment to the principles of the rule of law they showed us when they were governing, in spite of the weaponization, you understand, of the system and the law under their watch, you understand. I'm saying that our fidelity should always be to the Constitution, and it should not matter whether or not the persons at the end of a process are from their stock. It shouldn't matter, because at the end of the day, they are Ghanaians, and because our fidelity always must be to the Constitution, they must be accorded all the constitutional rights, and we must follow all the constitutional precedents we all agree to. So what he was saying really, for me, suggests that he didn't listen to what I was saying. But having said that, I listened to my brother Sweeney. On point of law, yes, I agree with his view that even in spite of an order of the court where you commit an offense, or an order of a court does not mean an immunity against crime or against arrest. I agree with that. But having said that, my view was premised on the belief that I don't believe that Hanan had committed a crime post the order. And I think this reading even reaffirms that position. Because you see, we must not give an impression that we are weaponizing the system to go after our political opponents. That would be a reaffirming the very bad governance Nana Addo and his government gave us. the terrible governance that a reason why we put them out of office. And that's what I meant by the reset agenda also means that we must reaffirm our commitment to the tenets of our constitution. I do not think that the current president does not have commitment to our constitution. I don't think so. But what I'm saying is that if we allow this Hanan issue to go on like it is going on, and as I mentioned, you know, when Chimawuntumi was arrested, all this crazy 500 million bill, this crazy honors bill, for me, it represents a weaponization of the system. That's why I'm saying that, yes, Ghana supports the reset agenda, but that reset agenda will mean that we need to reaffirm our commitment to our constitution. And the way the Hanan case is going, for me, gives an impression that we are weaponizing the system against Hanan. But having said that, we know that corruption is a massive canker in this country. And it is all of our commitment to ensure that we nip this in the bud. And that's why oral house support, and that's why we seem to be pushing government even to be doing more, because we need to deal with corruption. But because we are under the rule of law, that call for accountability must be within the confines of the law, both the letter and spirit of the law. It will not be an excuse to say that because we are fighting against corruption, then we should depart from both the letter and spirit of the law. I know that this is a very listening government. This is my opinion. They are free to take it.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, our commitment must always be to both the letter and spirit of the Constitution. Our faithfulness must always be to the Constitution and nothing more.
I'll let you come in on this, your final thoughts, so we can move on.
My brother, I can assure you that this government has not deviated from that fundamental principle of commitment to the tenets of our democracy and our Constitution. And I can understand the concerns being raised, especially when it comes to the issue of Hanan. But you see, that is not a holistic view of the situation, because to be able to reach a conclusion that the steps being taken are unwarranted and are unlawful, you can only reach that conclusion if you have access to the evidence that the Attorney General would adduce in court. And most importantly, even the speedy nature of today's date for a hearing should tell you that this is a government that is still committed to not violating any court order in case that they appear in court today and the Attorney General's office is not, successful. Hanan can still travel out of the country. So even the determination of the dates today tells you that this is a government that is quite very mindful of his rights. Secondly, I don't think that he's been persecuted because, my brother, the government would not just pick up Hanan based on flimsy excuses. When the likes of, what's his name, Abronya DC, have been given permission to go and travel, to go outside and study. Who stopped him? The likes of the former Minister of Youth and Sports, Honorable Mustafa, they are all permitted to travel. When they are granted permission to travel, the government did not have any cause to stop them at the airports or prevent them from traveling. So on what basis would you think that the same government or the same AG that respected decisions emanating from our courts in relation to these individuals that I have mentioned will suddenly take a posture against Mr. Hanan? Unless, of course, they have evidence that he has committed a crime. That is the only way that they will take these steps against him. And so for me, I still have absolute confidence, my brother, in the steps of the Attorney General. And what is quite beautiful is also that there is an opportunity for him to be in court today and his lawyers. And I know that the judges will not pander to the whims and caprices of the system. If indeed there is no law freezing the accounts of Mr. Hanan, the judges will make that determination and tell the Attorney General that the Attorney General is wrong. Mind you, that Attorney General outfit is not always known to be right when it appears in court. Indeed, they have lost in a number of cases. And it did not start with this Attorney General. And when you lose, you respect the outcome of the court decision. And so, if today they appear in court and it is found that the Attorney General's position is not supported by the law, I am pretty much convinced that the court would grant whatever Mr. Hanan and his counsel appear to be
But why is
seeking.
his counsel being prevented to see him?
I cannot speak for. It's
that
an
normal
allegation
practice?
because this is not the first time. This is not the first time this gentleman is throwing out such accusations. But even under him as Attorney General, we had complaints of lawyers not having access to their council. And those days, I remember quite clearly that we're told that on certain days, the BNI and IOCU did not allow access. And that even if there's no officer available at that point handling that case, there was no need for access. So nothing really has changed in terms of the operational model of these state institutions. The only thing that appears to have changed is the NDC and NPP. One is in opposition now and one is in government. If we have concerns about the modus operandi of these state institutions, we can have that debate. I've always argued that. Look, like my brother indicated, in terms of the bail amounts that are being churned out, my only problem is the selective amnesia and the hypocrisy that surrounds that discourse. Yeah. It did not start today. Yeah. Do you remember the bail amounts the likes of His Excellency Woyome and Co. were made to pay? Because of the quantums involved in terms of the allegations against them. Where was the MPP? When the bench or the judges were sending out these huge sums for bails, where were they?
Okay. All right.
And so all of a sudden, because the MPP is in opposition, and these same bail conditions, and in most cases even lesser, are coming, we must have a national discourse as far as bail conditions are concerned.
Let's wrap
that
up this
selective hypocrisy and amnesia is what baffles me. And I think that is what we should not entertain. And when my brother says that, look, we should not behave like the NPP, and I can understand why my brother is uncomfortable. He's right. Bella, in this country, we saw what journalists went through in the last 8 years, to the extent that the likes of Manasseh had to be flown out of this country for their safety. Indeed, we lost the likes of Ahmed Swale. We saw how rights were abused in this country. We saw how unanimous decisions.
I'm trying to understand how that.
I'm coming. We saw how unanimous decisions. He spoke about the rule of law and the fact that Ghanaians lost confidence. We saw how decisions were being churned out in our judicial.
It's because you made a statement referencing him saying we shouldn't do this MPP and DC politics. That's what I'm trying to understand.
No. He had issue with my brother's reference to the fact that the past regime was terrible in terms of his human rights record, and that this government should do everything to resist the temptation to behave like them. The point is that it is true. You can decide to be political, or because you were in power, you decided not to be sensitive to the plight of the ordinary Ghanaian. But Fifi, I can assure you that the legacy of the last 8 years will continue to be a major blot on the democratic journey of this country.
Good morning.
And it is not something you can simply wish away.
Thank you. A minute. Good morning, Mr. Richard Kumado. He says that suspects do not decide when and where and how arrests should be made by security agencies, particularly when there's evidence of a crime having been committed. Suspects do not decide when, where, and how arrests should be made. Okay. You've repeated that statement. Good morning to you, Mr. Bright Nana Amfo, my boss, my former boss as well. It's good to know that you are watching. Thank you for your messages. And a number of them are coming. Prince Nana York says, build a robust health system will tone politicians. I guess it's in reference to that leave being granted to Hanan to travel outside for to see his optician. But let's get into our second conversation this morning. And it's been a week since.
I was requesting that if you could give me just a minute.
If I do, then I have to give everyone, unfortunately. So please let me
that'll be fine.
Thank you.
That'll be fine.
Let me just go straight into the second topic as well. Fifi, I understand, but just to be fair, because then we'll have to go around the table again.
When I speak, they respond. So you go ahead.
All right. So it's been a week since the floods ravaged our homes, took some 34 lives, unfortunately, left about 91,000 people displaced. And now the conversation is about restoring order and, trying to replace the losses that people have unfortunately had to deal with in the last 1 week. Unfortunately, the lives cannot be brought back. But at least for the homes that have been destroyed, properties that have been destroyed, we're now having conversations as to how to mitigate such disasters moving forward. And we're told that the Ghana Armed Forces has been put in place to spearhead this mitigation process in collaboration with some ministries and government agencies as well. But the situation is quite dire, and I'll tell you why. The Guide Project team have done an aerial mapping of our wetlands all across the country, from Ibri to Tetegu, of course to Malam as well. And as it stands now, even for Chado, if you look at the mapping that was done aerially, we're told that as at 2002, our waterway around Chado was as wide as 206 meters. Then by 2013, 2,061 meters, pardon me. By 2013, the width had now shrunk to 2,011 meters. By 2022, from 2,011 meters, we had gone all the way down to 19 meters. And as it stands now, we are left with only 10 meters of our water body in the Chado area. So it's not surprising that we encountered that level of flooding within that area. I'll come to my guest shortly, but let me also quickly introduce one more guest who has joined us via Zoom and will have this conversation with us. Engineer Dr. Bertha Date, Chairperson, Water and Sanitation, Civil Technical Division of the Ghana Institution of Engineering. Good morning to you, Engineer. Can you hear me, Doc?
Good morning, Madam. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you doing as well?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you very much.
All right. So I don't know if you've come across that aerial mapping of our wetlands and our water bodies all across the country, and how, you know, due to development, we seem to be reducing the size of our water bodies. And now people have indicated that we need to pull down these structures in our waterways. The president himself has said that all illegal structures in our waterways will be pulled down as well. But there are concerns that this is more an engineering problem moving forward. And maybe instead of pulling down these structures, because it really won't change, you know, the soil structure at this point, which has already been destroyed, maybe we should come up with a better engineering way to come up with drains that can suck out the water, because our water bodies are gone anyway. What do you say?
Well, thank you very much for the point made. I think it's very telling, that presentation that was made by the GARID coordinator. And it is very sad that we have sat down over the years, and over 20 years, we've lost a lot of land to development without looking at the impact on flooding. And I want to just reflect on a report I read when I was younger, a report on our common future. And in that report, often referred to as the Brundtland report, a definition of sustainable development was given. And it says that sustainable development is the development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. And this formed the pillars of a lot of our discussions around sustainable development, which looks at connections between economic growth as well as environmental protection. And for me, the big question is, are we developing in a sustainable manner? And are we taking environmental stewardship seriously? And so now I come to your main question, where we saw from the video and from various presentations that we've lost a lot of wetlands. And you are right. I mean, if you want to break these buildings down, the big question is, what volumes have you lost by this narrowing of the waterway? What volume of water have you lost? And if you break down the building, will you be able to restore back those volumes? Will you be able to restore back the ecological conditions? And will you be able to restore back the hydrological conditions to the previous state? And so I think those are questions that, like you said, is engineering, and we would have to ask ourselves that, assuming we have to demolish, what's next? What is the way forward towards restoring our hydrological and ecological conditions? And this is where Ghana Institution of Engineering have put together a paper which says that we need to go beyond just silting. We need to go beyond just dredging or building larger drains. We also need to look at the issue of reducing the impervious surfaces and also holding the water closer to where it is generated. So this is some of the things that we have proposed. Thank you.
I see. So with this proposal that you have made, of course, I believe that this should have gotten to the president and the committees that are supposed to handle this situation. How soon do we need to move in order to avert some of these disasters? And with the buildings, can we still pull some down anyway? Will it change anything at all?
Well, like I said, perhaps if you are pulling down the building, you have to also look at whether, in addition to that, you have to restore the ecological conditions. Maybe some buildings have to be pulled down, because if you saw the video, there was actually a building sitting on top of a drain.
Yeah.
And the person sitting on top of that river has created a culvert, a small culvert, which is clearly undersized to channel the water from one end to the other. So there are certain buildings that are creating such an obstruction that perhaps you can't do anything, you have to get rid of it. Definitely that side of it has to be done. But you asked the question about whether our proposal has moved forward. Yes, we've presented it to the various ministries that are in charge, and it has moved forward. But I think beyond this high-level proposal or policy, we need to get into implementation. Okay. And in implementing, one of the things that we are setting up as an institution is to have a small team that can be providing technical backstopping. But what we need to do for the implementation is to be able to have clear economic and financial analysis. Like you talked about, is it 90,000 persons displaced? What is the cost? What is the cost of the 10,000 homes that are destroyed? This morning I was reading an article that said the cost of insurance is going to be about, is it 500 million Ghana cedis? Already we've had to release 350 million Ghana cedis for emergency. So if you add up all these small amounts, you see that there's a huge economic or financial loss to us. But beyond that, we also need to have proper design manuals for our stormwater. Previously, if we've been looking at just enlarging the physical drains, moving forward, what do we need to do to be able to take care of green design, which looks at creating more sponges to absorb the water, more retention, rainwater harvesting at the household level. So a number of things. So we need to redesign our national stormwater design manuals.
Okay.
We also need to look at the institutional governance gap, which is a critical thing. And so the Ghana Hydrological Authority, what are they doing?
All right.
They recently...
Doc, I think we're losing you on there, but I think your point has been well made. Let me just give the remaining time to my guests in the studio so they can also share their opinions on this. So short-term, long-term solutions. I have just 1 minute for you, unfortunately, for everyone else. Time is up.
I cannot even respond to the bit where he was talking about how media people have been treated. Just last week, a radio station.
If you respond to that, that means we can't go into
I'll deal with it.
The flood
About 20 seconds. NDC chairman went there to attack the host and staff there. In fact, in Damango, a young person, by just saying the government is not performing, was arrested. That is the negative reset we are talking about. So this is nothing to be proud of. But on the issue of the floods, for me, I think that the real challenge at this point is the thousands of people who are displaced. We are told government is releasing some funds, some 300 million, to support them. It's been over a week, and there's no evidence of such support going to the people. There are people who do not have a place to lay their head. There are people who don't have what to eat. There are businesses that have collapsed. You see, the unfortunate thing sometimes for the political class is that we assume everyone is within our level. So just in case there's flood in my house, I may have somebody I could perch with or I could rely on for support. But the truth is that there are people today, if they are in a situation where their houses have been flooded, they have nobody to turn to. So if government is indeed serious about addressing the challenges these people face, at least some agency would have been applied. Another worrying bit is also videos that are in circulation, where people, in fact, the death is around the drains. They've not still collected them. They are still there. Indeed, this morning, I think, let me commend the Ministry of Interior. They seem to be doing something right. They sent out a warning notice to all of us that it is possible that this morning it might rain, and we should all be careful. At the time the Ministry of Interior is doing this, what is the Ministry of Works and Housing doing? Nothing is being done. The sanitation situation, Ministry of Local Government, what are they doing? The sanitation situation has not improved. It's gotten worse. We are waiting for another rains. All these will be carried into the gutters, fill it, and then will go into the houses of such people. And I think that we need to be a bit more proactive in addressing the issue, because how we are handling the situation, we are only worsening the situation. And yes, the water made... Okay, yeah, I'll land.
You've done more than 1 minute.
Oh, I know the anti-MPP spokesperson and the NDC person will come and react to what I'm saying, but you just let me land. The point is that...
You're done.
I'm even surprised.
Government has failed these people, and government must act and act now. Enough of the antics.
Sometimes I'm surprised when you see he brings himself. When we say we're anti-government.
But
the first thing
is that not your position?
The first thing that has to be done.
Is anti-MPP.
The first thing that has to be done.
Yes, they are only coming to react.
No, not to react.
They will come and react.
When you speak, they don't interject.
Because they will come and react to what I'm saying.
It will be unfair because then my producer will take us off air. Please allow me.
The first thing that must be done is to give a statement that simply says that we are going to hold people accountable, and we are not going to allow what happened to happen again. I understand that 137 million was disbursed to deal with the engineering issues that would not have allowed what happened to have happened.
We're supposed to have
that 137 million, I understand that about over 20% was spent on training. 11 million was spent on the actual job. Over 64 million went into COVID, so supposedly. He said to President Mahama, please, we need a forensic audit. And where the audit has or finds that people are dying because when you had opportunity, you just played with the monies that had been... you played.
With endorsement of the World Bank.
Listen, you played with it. And I'm calling for a forensic 64 million to COVID. Secondly, so that's the first. So that's unfair. That's the first point. He's jittery.
I have to go.
He's jittery.
So that Hamza can speak.
Two. Let's immediately, if it means we have to set up shelter, or we quickly do so that the people who have been displaced are dealt with. Thirdly, people have lost their livelihoods. So quickly, we find ways of also dealing with that. And in the long term, we show commitment to the long term. We show commitment to the purpose of for why Garrett was set up. You understand? Deal with the engineering issues. But first, let's deal with them. Let's deal with them.
I think
deal with people.
Since Fifi decided to go back on to the initial subject, let me also put it on record that the information that I have gotten indicates that indeed the state was convinced that it was not just even an attempt to have access to the accounts, but it was calculated in a way intended to abscond the jurisdiction.
Really?
And raise issues of asylum that eventually would not like...
You are getting that information
Yes,
now.
I'm getting that information.
And it's proven...
Like Candid.
How do we prove this statement that you are making?
So that is why they will be in court today. Because you see, the question you ask yourself, Bella, is that even if a court grants an order for a person to travel and the state subsequently finds fresh evidence as a result of the conduct of the person, should the state investigative bodies fold its arms and wait until such a time that it's too late for you to... But that is just by the way. But let me end on the issue of the floods. Unlike the NPP, I think that let me make the point that the National Democratic Congress and this government in particular know that indeed it is our responsibility to ensure that we respond to the needs of those affected. And indeed, we ought to have been very proactive in that response to ensure that we didn't even get here. We put in much more efforts. Can you please? We put in much more effort, but you know that this is a very sensitive matter, and that it also requires financial wherewithal to be able to deal with the issue of floods in Accra. Unfortunately, because of the mess that we inherited, we communicated to the people of this country that indeed the whole of last year would have been used to clean the mess, ensure that we get government expenditure on track. That undoubtedly would have affected government's financial commitments in terms of actually dealing with preemptive measures as far as floods are concerned. Right. But that notwithstanding, we did reasonable investments in terms of the desilting of certain selected gutters, construction of some new ones, but we know that enough has been done. And we will not back We will not shift responsibility to any other person. It is the responsibility of this government to confront it. We have a 4-year mandate.
All right.
Be rest assured that we will deal with the experts and engage in a way that will lead to a sustainable handling of our flood issues. Unlike them, who are interested in shifting blames and simply scoring the political goals, this government means business, and we are committed to resource.
All right. Well, Nyodik Niatukwe says that when the law is dealing with those who are aligned with corruption, then we hear others saying they are Ghanaians. Are we not in Ghana and bound by constitution? No one is above the law. Okay, I hear you. We have to go, but the airport arrest of the former Buffer Stock CEO has sparked a lot of conversation. We must ask two things at once. Is justice being served or was due process violated? This is from Akismi Sefri Bekwai. And just a final one before I go. Okay, you know what? I'll just leave it here. Yemo, I think you mentioned that you had to move out of your house in Chado because your house is flooded. Very sad situation, and you're not the only one. A number of people have had to relocate. We do hope that help is coming, but most importantly, we hope that our wetlands can be restored to a large extent. But the big issues is sponsored by the University of Gold Coast. And so whether you're aiming for a specialist MBA in marketing, communications, operations, supply chain, human resource management, finance, entrepreneurship, innovation, or business intelligence analytics, or you just want to advance to a dual MBA or chartered manager MBA, University of Gold Coast gives you the options that match your vision. And if your next step is an MSc in international relations, communications, international marketing, international law, security, diplomacy, accounting and finance, or human resource management, an LLM in international law, security, diplomacy, or an MA in biblical studies, practical theology, and the like, then the pathway is open for you. You can apply today because at UGC, we make it practical. So you get flexible learning, flexible entry, and flexible payments. Study around your work and life, choose a route that fits your background, and pay in convenient installments as well. So your dream deserves structure and your future deserves strategy. Apply now, www.ugc.edu.gh, or call or WhatsApp them on 026 388 8555 026 388 8555. University of Gold Coast, building leaders for the nations. And well, let me also say thank you to my guests in the studio for joining us. Fifi Boafo is the former Director of Public Relations at Cocoa Board. It's been a pleasure having you this morning. I don't know if you can say the same for me. It's like you're not smiling much today, but
because people don't have a place
Andrew
to lay their
Apia
heads
Dankwa, Director of Legal for the United Party. Hamza
they are
Suni is a
not
private legal
concerned about
practitioner. He's a member of the United Party. And earlier we had Engineer Dr. Bertha Date. She's the chairperson for Water and Sanitation and Civil Technical Division of Ghana Institute of Engineering. Big thank you to Yatel for my outfit and to Hair Affairs by Aisha. We'll be back with more sports coming up. We'll get deeper into Carlos Queiroz' statement, and then we'll find out if really he has resigned from the Black Stars or if he means he's working with us in the future. We don't understand, but we'll be back. Keep watching. Well, Mutala doesn't look too happy.
I mean, we are all confused.
You cry, I'm confused.
You cry, you are confused.
As me asking questions, can you imagine? No, but I expected it to.
You expected it?
It's like I wanted us to progress so that I can wear my jersey.
But you were not too confident.
But I wasn't too confident.
I think we should have been a bit daring in that game against Colombia, not to win but show some fight. And I always say this: there's a way to lose a football game and still get the applause of everyone. 2006, we lost to Italy. We were all clapping for the Black Stars, but I mean, it was a poor one. And former Black Stars defender Jonathan Mensah, who played the 2010-2014 World Cup, spoke to Michael Otieje after the game.
Is he really a photographer, by the way?
Yes, he's
That's real.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that we go down a goal and then, you know, we couldn't get the goal back. Obviously with our Senenya going down, Alidu jumping in, conceding first 15 minutes is always tough. You'll be chasing the game the whole time, so we didn't create enough chances to get back into the game. Like I said, it's unfortunate, but the guys, we're proud of them, and we just have to go back to our homes, recover. Some guys are obviously go off season now, relax, and then we can go again. Getting out of the group is good, but you want to always remain humble and hungry. At this point, we can only be hungry. The guys will go back to their clubs, they will reflect, and you know, get all the opinions and have their own perspective about how things went, and then clean things up. Seriously, they will grow from this. So I'm proud of the boys, and the whole Ghana is proud of them.
You see the ties that Jonathan Mensah has. That's the tie that you know, Stephen Apaya.
Yeah.
You know, I've not seen some recently. It's like the ties are very small. But
Apia
anyway,
used to have big
maybe I was
ties
focusing
as
on
well.
other things. But let's talk about Carlos. Has he resigned or what's he saying?
Okay, so this is how I want to put this. When he was unveiled, the GFA made it clear that they are bringing him on just for the World Cup period. So it was a short-term deal. The minister has said several times that it was a short-term deal just for the World Cup. What we know is that it was a 4-month contract.
Okay.
Now he's done about 2-3 months there. The next time Ghana would play would be in September when we assemble for the AFCON qualifiers. So even if he stays on till August, where the contract will finally end, what happens?
Okay.
And even with the statement that he put out, he didn't state it clearly that I'm resigning. He said it's even the beginning of the future, and that he's.
But
he's
he
happy.
said we're leaving this journey, or I leave this journey. So that's
then he comes back to say that this is just the beginning of the future. So does it mean that they are going to have a different negotiation with him to continue as the man? Portions of the statements read that I live this journey with pride in what we achieved, but also the healthy dissatisfaction of those who always wanted
Which
more.
journey is he referencing? That's what we want to understand.
I mean, it's a bit ambiguous with the statement that he's put out. The future of the Black Stars will not. This is what people are talking about.
The main
the future of the Black Stars will not be built only on the pitch. Black Star success must start off the field by creating the best possible environment to prepare, protect, and develop Ghana's extraordinary football talents.
He said a lot.
A lot in there.
In just one paragraph.
I asked a lot of people to explain to me. I even asked ChatGTP to explain to me, and Chat was just beating about the bush. Chat was even lost. He was also beating about the bush.
I feel like basically he's saying that don't wait and bring me on when there's a big tournament, when you've already assembled your team.
Well, what I am deducing from this is that he's talking about the fact that we should prepare ourselves well, develop our talent down here, because there's a pool of talent down here which is bigger than what is in the diaspora. You don't have to wait for Mr. Broby to go and give birth in Netherlands before you go and look for the kid. You have a pool of talent here that you can develop, and they can also go out there and do bigger things. But I mean, I don't know why I still feel that Carlos may be back if they have a proper negotiation.
He may be.
He may be back.
From where you sit, should Carlos be back?
The kind of football he wants to play, and the kind of football that Ghana is known for, is contrasting at the moment. But I also want to see a Carlos Queiroz with a player like Mohamed Kudus. Maybe he gets Kudus and he starts playing progressively and not being defensive. I think his experience was good. The organization of our team was, and the discipline that we had under him was brilliant. But the question of should he be back as a big one, it would depend on what Ghana wants to achieve.
You see, the progressive play, he had Thomas Brandon Asante, he had Semenyo, he had Caleb Urenchi. So if he still wanted to be very progressive in his play, I think that we had quite a number of people who could have done that.
I think one thing that he did was because he had limited time to prepare the team, he wanted to go with the experience. He wanted to go with players who have been there before. He didn't have the luxury of wanting to try too many things. But now...
we tried Brandon Asante, it worked.
It worked. And,
so why didn't we keep
that
him
is a
on?
question that many are asking, that why not bring Brandon Asante, especially when we're even looking for a goal against Colombia.
Exactly.
Why not bring him on? Because we saw him against Panama, and he was very impressive in there. But let's see, as he says, the future has just begun. Maybe the future is great for us. I would love us to break that our trophy drought. Because, Bella, I've not seen Ghana win a trophy before. I've not seen the Black Stars win a trophy before.
Yeah, the Black Stars. I think I saw the Black. You see, I think I saw the... Is it the under-20? They won the World Cup.
Yeah, that was 2009.
But
the Black Stars have not won.
Was it Wakaso who was on that?
No, it was Andre Ayew who was the captain.
But there was another guy. It wasn't Wakaso, but there's someone...
Ajima Bedu was also in there. A lot of people...
Jonathan Mensah?
Jonathan Mensah was there.
He was on there as well.
Adia was there.
Adia is the one. Where is he now?
Adia stopped playing. He now lives in London.
He's the one he confuses me with.
He now lives in London. So
he lives in London now.
The future has just begun. That is what Carlos Queiroz is saying.
His future, dear, is bleak.
Oh, no, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Things will be clearer.
Okay, we're here. But the shocker, or maybe it's not, it was a shocker. Brazil out of the game.
Really a shocker?
For me, it was, well, maybe because I like them so much, but I feel like they messed up with all, they had so many opportunities. Ideally, with all those shots they played, they should have had like 10 goals.
Brazil have been on a downward spiral for some time. They've also lost their golden generation. So even coming into this tournament, if Brazil had enough top players, the conversation of Neymar wouldn't have been in there. It would have been flashed out, but because they didn't have enough. So they've not had enough quality players for some time. I was not surprised they lost to Norway. Norway took their chances. And Erling Haaland, with Erling Haaland, he doesn't need too many touches. He didn't even get
He missed one main one.
Yes, he didn't even get 20 touches in the game. He just needs, he had 3 shots on target, 2 of them were goals.
Went in, yes.
So that is Erling Haaland for you. Brazil didn't take their chance, especially getting that penalty in that early phase of the game.
Why did they let that guy play? What was happening? Because Vinicius was holding the ball. Why did he pass it to him?
The head coach's son is the assistant coach. He says that...
the head coach's son?
Carlo Ancelotti's son is the assistant, one of the assistant coaches of Brazil. And he says that throughout training session is Bruno Guimaraes who has been tagged as the first penalty taker. So that is it. And penalties are made. So Brazil losing 2-1 to Norway. Out they go. Morocco progressing with that beautiful 3-0.
Morocco played a very good game.
Of course. I mean, in the early exchanges of the game, it was scary for them, but they recovered in time and won 3-0. France also, Kylian Mbappe scoring from the penalty kick.
It was difficult for France, though.
Paraguay just came with the mentality of frustrating France.
No, but they also played a very dirty game. I wasn't happy with it.
Because they knew that France had enough quality. Their golf quality was wide, so they just wanted to frustrate France.
And they achieved it because, Olise, for example, got that card because... They got under his skin.
Even Kylian Mbappe, if he had not stopped bantering and added some smiles, he would have gotten a card. So they also won. Then this morning around
I missed
1
but I hear it was the game of the season.
I mean, England, it was like England, very big stadium. And imagine you have about 80,000 Mexicans in there cheering their team. But England went with a good mentality. It was a different game to all the games that they've played in the group phase. This was a completely different one. They managed to get comes up with 2 goals. I mean, Mexico tried to come back, got 1, and then Raúl Jiménez also scored. They will be playing a certain Norway team. So FIFA World Cup finishes since 2002 for Brazil. 2002, they won the tournament. Then in Germany, 2006, quarterfinal, they got out. South Africa, 2010, again, quarterfinals, they couldn't progress. 2014, they finished 4th. You remember that 7-1 defeat to Germany where they were all crying. 2018, they got to the quarterfinals. In Qatar, they got to the quarterfinal. And this time, it's a new low. They got to the round of 16, and they are out. Neymar says he's retired from the Brazilian national team. He's not going to play again.
But he came on the 70th minute.
Yeah, because
there's really no...
I mean, they say that his call-up was even political. The president just wanted him to be there. Yeah. But fixtures for today, there's a big one. Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal are coming up against Lamine Yamal, Spain. Big one, 7 p.m. That game will be live on TV3.
So we started the round of 16 now?
We've started the round of 16. Ooh, no time to waste.
This is tough.
It will be live on TV3. Build up for the game starts at 6 p.m. and the game itself kicks off at 7 p.m.
Who are you for?
I think Spain have a bit of something that Portugal do not have. Portugal are not playing as a unit. Spain have settled at the moment. But you never say never when there's Cristiano Ronaldo in a game.
Yeah.
Just like Lionel Messi. There's USA against Belgium, which will happen
Will this happen? Because we're getting an indication that Belgium might want to pull out of this match.
Yes, because Folarin Balogun, who was shown the red card, now FIFA has come back to tell us that red card has been suspended, so he can play the game
Apparently
against Belgium.
the president intervened.
Yes, and there are reports that it looks like Donald Trump placed the call to Infantino and told him, my guy, you have to do this for me. And that is why a lot of people within the football world are angry at the moment.
Has this ever happened?
There's a precedent that has been set recently. Cristiano Ronaldo, during the qualifiers, had one red card where he was supposed to be out for 2 games in the... Interested fixture. Then there's Switzerland against Colombia. So if we had defeated Colombia, we would have been playing Switzerland.
And that would have been an easy chopper.
It would have been an easier game compared to that. But even Panama struggle, so there's no easier game in this tournament. But these are the fixtures.
Be part of the World Cup. It doesn't matter if the Black Stars are out. Me, I'm all for, well, France. I think France is winning. And as it stands now, we have 3 people who are at the top in terms of goals. So Golden Boot. So we have Haaland, Mbappe, and of course, we have Messi. Let's see who it goes to eventually. But we'll take a break. Beatrice is currently in Alajo, and very shortly we'll cross over to her. She engages some residents who were heavily affected by the floods. Don't go anywhere. And it's TV3 Newday. Beatrice is on standby in Alajo, and she's speaking to some residents who were affected by the floods. Remember that last week, Alajo was one of the heavily affected areas as well. Residents lost their properties. Some, unfortunately, were swept away by the waters as well. So she's there now to find out how they're recovering from the situation. Take a look.
Community. It's one of the communities hardly hit by the floods that happened last Monday. It's exactly a week since the devastating floods that have unfortunately claimed about 34 lives, thousands displaced. Now, this is a cosmopolitan community, like I said, and over 94,000 people are in this place, densely populated area. Alajo is not new to floods. In fact, data shows that since the 1960s, with the overflowing of the Odo, this community has experienced multiple flooding. And in some cases, people die. Even in this year's flooding, the one that occurred just last Monday, one body was retrieved from this gutter, which is right behind me here. And people are already working around that area just to try and salvage what has been destroyed or what they can get out of what has been destroyed. I'm told by members of this community that this very house where I'm currently at is one of the most hit houses when the floods occurred last Monday. And as you can see, there were actually some individuals who are still trying to clear the debris here, from roofing sheet to plywood to all sort of wood here. They are just clearing them. Right ahead of you, you can see a building on the right. Both the front and the back are damaged, and I'm told that there were individuals who were living in those places, and obviously they've been displaced because of the floods. Now here, when you walk through this entire community, actually, you realize the huge heaps of refuse that are spotted in different spots of this area, and also the debris, really indicating that people are still suffering, as it were, from the impact of the flooding. The impact really is evident in this area. And like I said, there are a number of people who have already been affected. And I do have a lady here. I'm told that she had a bookshop. Hi, ma'am. Good morning to you. We're sorry for what happened to you.
Okay.
I'm told you had a bookshop. First of all, what's your name?
My name is Tina. I had a Juma. Your shop, bookshop, balcony, and other shop, and so I metons your name, me Adriane, like first shop, and I got
across the gutter. Which of them? Is it the green one we can see just right opposite us?
Just this one. Baby, where you go no?
Iron Road to Nuguno.
Ohona bookshop no main one no, and middle nini. A Hansana second one and so.
So what I'm learning actually is that all these metals you see and the wooden structures apparently, or the remaining, I should put it, of the wooden structures apparently were all stores in front of this very house, and it looks like a compound house that has been destroyed by the rain. So you're saying you had two shops, one by where the iron rods are and a second one just right in front of you here.
Yes. Just Saturday, you know, me baha and I'm taking stock, which is bookshop, you know.
As in last Saturday before the rain on Monday.
Yes, me taking stock like next see me soon. I'm say, I'm bare rough stocking, it's in bare rough stocking. That was shop. Me bag here on the bay, yeah. Me check here na at least me see me one near Makakra at least. Nko fosika eka loan to say Ghana dear we need for a loan na me die juma and Monday matching so ne start say kakra me femu ebe ye juma because one be juma unti me to school fees unti me to loan enti me femu ebe ye enti so ne start ye no na no ye den enti gata na wa ha no me sha de na me see afi we die so no ebe yiri o na me check na interfere efi gata we mu ayema eba ye so afi my confused minim dia menye ye be hye na nso na to ahye so me shop nim nyina ayema eti esa na ye twen nyina ekogu no ho a which is T junction ho eti esisi me so say me fro wo be check ya lajo na ka green bi esi nsuo nim eti me fro ye na me gina me twen me kom me hu me shop na me shop me hu me shop esi sa no na lady ba ko sa be twen me koe no so shop ne wo ho me hu na se da bi glass keto na me to aduane wo me kra me hu no so wo ho na se da bi me hu eti sa na me so okay so ne twetwen e baba nti within 3 hours and so ne twetwen no na me ya madwen say me ba shop ni nyina bibia ko me say shop ne ko me bookshop and niema wo me nyina eko.
So she's saying that she was actually here the Saturday ahead and she's actually tearing right now. She's trying to recount what happened to her during the rains last Monday, and she said she was here Saturday prior to the event and she came in early on Monday trying to do business. She's actually crying right now, obviously remembering
Bibi some life in you know me just start a rubber bibi come me nim dia me because enkrofo sika na me di ejuma enkrofo lo na me di ejuma afena master class one bibia me life about end me nim bibia obia sha me cry say enye ye famenya me eti me de for now me de amenya me no.
Obviously crying, saying that she's left it to God, but she's lost everything. She feels that her life has come to an end. And like I was saying, she was recounting what happened to her last Monday when she came trying to do business until the flood waters just gushed out and carried her books and the shop away. Of course, not just one shop, but shops.
Yeah. No.
You were saying that you came to take stock of the items you had. You've mentioned that you took some loans just to support your business. When you came to take stock, as of the last count, how much do you think you have lost as a result of this flood?
Last time, me notebooks no, ne other books, ne textbooks no. Me check here almost 80,000 yeah. But man fa nkete no kra nka ho. But me check here na so at least me onko sika na me ton because for now no na bookshop no market is low because season na mo to ade nti na me was stock wo ha 80,000 no eba we mo I say first 800
but currently the new Ghana cedi is 80,000 Ghana cedis.
Yeah.
So that's what she's saying. She's lost. She's still saddened by what has happened. Obviously, if you've lost this amount of money just suddenly, you would understand why she's feeling the way she's feeling right now. But it's been a week. I can imagine that it's still fresh on your mind and it's so difficult. How has it been for you in the last 1 week?
My alarm bought 3 o'clock. And see, at times, 3 o'clock now I'm sorry. Because once I rent them, I'm benya, once I say me were 2 shop, and see me Adrian Waha. And see one band, Taman be Adrian, and I know pass school for ne Toby, and now Mamma Quajuman to Toby, and see one band, Taman be, I'm starting Tama, Obia be Quajao, Adrian and Ensa. That is Monday, no, I see, and it's Tuesday, 3 boy, and me sorry, Miss Soon, the whole day, na the chin, and it's Anna to see I. 3 bope as a maintenance and I mean soon because me near Jumebia to say me near Jumebia.
So she's saying that ideally she wakes up at 3 a.m. and now it's like when she wakes up, instead of preparing for work, she just cries. Let me ask you this question before I go to the other women who have obviously been affected as well. The government has released some amount of money to support victims like yourself. Has any official come to take your details just so you could get help in the in the coming days?
No.
Thank you so much, and once again, we're sorry for what has happened to you. But obviously, like I did say, she's not the only one who's been affected by the floods that we saw last Monday. There are a number of women here as well who have equally been affected. And I'm told that this elderly woman that I have with me right now also lost a number of items as well. Ma, good morning. Me pacho wo TV3 Newday so. Obi Freo.
Hello.
Ma, me pacho me no kasa me ba ha no na wo ka che me se na wo ton tuma e wo animu ha lace nti she ne oniema asai
kudi na zan kira kayan ga Allah wai kudi duka ya wuce don ban san nawa zan kira wanga kudi ban kudin gaba ko na ce 500 billion wallahi ban yi komi ba. Wallahi.
She's saying she's lost a lot of money, 500 billion, she's saying, in old Ghana cedis. Maybe are you talking about 500,000 Ghana cedis? Oh, 500 Ghana cedis and 500,000 Ghana cedis.
5 billion. Ya kai glasses in gama duka ma ya kai ban yi kariya wai saboda za bani wani abu in san yi kariya kowa ya ji a'a wanga ma na dai kira ne don container ko kayan da ke ciki ina zo Lagos ne na doko kaya mi ko Kano mi ko Lagos mi ko Fanema ne ma no draw so anti
So obviously saying that she goes to Nigeria and containers full of stuff have been destroyed. Is there any other thing I missed in the language? Have I translated exactly what she said? Yeah, okay, and one American or English. Now, okay, I will come to you shortly, but I want us to see some of the things that she lost, at least the remaining of her store. So this is like a glass store, should I put it that way? Okay, so she's saying that she had about 4 of these glasses. And so she's saying that a number of them are destroyed. But Lord, if you can come here, she said, so these are clothes, obviously damaged, and she was telling me earlier that these are the only ones that she could actually recover. The rest have all been swept away by the flood waters. And so that is really the situation for her as well. Nama Yefro saying?
Pacho Hajia Amina.
Hajia Amina. Nana utifia hanzo.
Da bi mi fie wa ofie nyina asu akọ. Ye bed ye konja bibia akọ. Bibia akọ. Ye dem bibia aniwo.
Nti se se he na ada.
Me da belenpe. Mi sister ba ko. Ani kunu so anya bibia. Me sorry amene akoda ye ko abelenpe.
Oba na o grandchild.
Me ba.
Very sad scenes from Alajo, where Beatrice is at the moment. And, of course, people are counting their losses, wondering where help is going to come from. We know the president has asked for the release of some 350 million Ghana cedis to be distributed, of course, and to also help address some of these challenges. We do hope that a number of them would receive some respite at this point. But we're wrapping up on the show. I know a lot of you would have wanted to watch a lot more of that. We hope that we can bring you some more videos from Alajo and the other environs that have been badly affected by the floods in our subsequent productions. But happy birthday to you if it's your birthday today. God bless you so much. And yes, we're going to be mentioning a few birthday celebrants before we wrap up the show today. But if it's your birthday, God bless you. So Kendra Bubune Amoncho. Oh, that's Amoncho's daughter. Oh, happy birthday. Okay. Also, happy birthday going out to Regina Essel, God bless you. Tema General Hospital, God bless you. Also to Ishmael, God bless you. Enjoy your day. Happy birthday going out to Mama Rita Odum of AUCB. Lovely dress, Mama Rita. Madeline Robertson of American Flag in Accra. There's a place called American Flag. Okay, I see. Drip Snow. Okay. Happy birthday. Ima, happy birthday to you from Madame Cecilia and Fafa. Happy birthday also going out to Teresa Ousua Amankwa. God bless you. Amen. Barnabas Tete Daite, enjoy your day, sir. Happy birthday to Ruth Nick Na of TAC, Tertiary State Assembly. God bless you, ma'am. And to Madam Alice Akosia Mansa Apia from Takrade. Okay, from Revivalist Victor. Innocent Seno. Happy birthday. From your name. Innocent Seno again. Okay, which one is Innocent? Mrs. Ankra. Oh, happy birthday, Mrs. Happy birthday to CEO of JAG, Fire Tech Solutions Limited. Happy birthday, sir. To Queen Abena, winner of GMB 2018. Oh, from Media General to you. Enjoy your day. Happy birthday going out to Isaac Apia, aka Prof. Enjoy your day. Happy birthday to Mr. Emmanuel Opoti. All right, enjoy your new age from Kalbanko. Mrs. Salome Mallet, Dadzawa. All right, ma'am. And to Bishop Evans, I celebrate you, sir. Happy birthday, Bishop. To Prophet Samuel Addison, Eagles House Chapel International. Happy birthday to you, Papa. And to Celestine Echama, happy birthday. You look lovely in pink. I think that's about it. Yes, that's about it. So on that note, our time is up. We have to go, but the sports team takes over from 10 to 11 a.m., bringing you some updates from the world of World Cup, pun intended. So on that note, my name is Brother Moody. I've been doing this with Beatrice, and we'll see you again, God willing, tomorrow. Keep watching TV3 and make sure to watch the match. From 6 a.m., the conversation starts, and then at 7, the game begins. See you tomorrow morning.
Everything could have been lovely.